I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Thank you. My agenda says public hearing, but I don't believe we have one. For presentations, the only thing I can think of is for the folks here that don't know the new face at the board table. This is our attorney, Jeffrey Meyer. He works with Matt Fuller, who most of you have met. Every bit as capable and probably a lot friendlier to be around, but don't tell Matt I said that. Okay, we'll move along to resolutions. Resolution to accept corrected minutes of regular and special meetings.
So you did have a few that, I don't know if you want to piecemeal these or not, because Chad was not at the 10-14 budget workshop, and Wayne was not at the 10-27 budget workshop.
Probably gonna have, well, no, we still, if we go with, Fred made them all, I made them all, and Dave made them all.
Okay.
So we can do them all in one shot.
Absolutely can.
Yeah.
So moved. Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
Opposed?
I abstain.
Resolution to approve the supervisor's monthly report, checking accounts, revenue, expenditures, and journal entries for September and October.
So moved.
Second.
I got a question on that.
Sure.
What is the monitoring of equipment? Is that for the IT situation? Yes. Okay,
Yeah.
all right. Thank you.
Any other questions or comments? All in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? Carried. Resolution to pay the bills.
So moved.
Second.
Discussion? All in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? Resolution to,
I'm sorry, did you do those two together, the second and third one? Or did you skip over?
I missed the budget
Yep.
adjustment report.
Yep, you did.
Sorry. Resolution approving the September and October budget adjustment report.
I'll move that.
Second?
Second.
Discussion. All in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? Thank you. Resolution authorizing the interfund advances as per General Municipal Law 9.A to be adopted for the abstract 11 of 2015. From general to CP bump out, age 52, $3,018.55 plus $7,948.25 for a total of $10,966.80. These funds will be reimbursed with grant funds and in-kind services.
Got your tongue in front of your eye teeth.
I think so. From general to CP Clean Water Main Project, age 53, $1,172.42. This will be reimbursed with EFC financing.
So moved. Go ahead. Take it away, Fred.
Don't matter. I'll second it, whichever.
There you go. Moved and seconded. Any discussion? All in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? Okay, a resolution approving the following budget transfers. This is the usual for this time of year. As we get down in the budget, we have certain line items that will be a bit overspent, and we go looking in that department to pick up whatever slack we need to pick up. Generally, there is funds somewhere else in that department. If there isn't, that's why we have a contingency fund. Okay, resolution from A.3120.101 police overtime to A.30120.102 police part-time in the amount of $4,000. From A1620.420 building fuel to A1620.44 building propane in the amount of $30,000. That's a major amount. That's there because we converted the armory to propane-fired boilers from the oil-fired boilers. From contingency, A1989.400 to A1680.400 central data in the amount of $695 as a result of the server failure. A7310100 youth payroll to A7311.120 youth payroll. There was an error in the accounts as they were charged out during the summer, and this is to correct that data. From A8810.100 cemetery payroll to A8510.100 grounds payroll in the amount of $2,400 to balance the accounts between parks and cemeteries. From DA5110.100 highway summer payroll to DA5110.102 highway summer payroll, overtime in the amount of $2,040. From DA5142.100 winter payroll to DA5142.101 highway winter payroll, overtime in the amount of $365. Let's act on those, please.
I'll move that.
I'll second.
Any questions or comments? All in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? Resolution supporting the following prepays as processed through Real Construction, $160,735.25 for the Chilson Water Main Project. To AES Northeast, $817.70 for the Bump Out Project. To AES Northeast, $2,202.85 for the Bump Out Project. To AES Northeast, $1,172.42 for the Clean Water Main Project. To the Town of Putnam, $1,079.79 for fourth quarter sewer use at the beach. To the State of New York, $50 for Town of Ty CSEA case. Let's do those, please.
So moved.
Second.
Okay, and again, these are, the reason these are all being listed item by item at this point in time is the suggestions from the auditor that we just had from Audit Control wanted us to put these out in this particular manner, and that's why we're doing it now. You didn't used to see them, they used to be all part of the abstract, but now they want these broken out of the abstract. Even though we all read the abstract, we get to read them again here.
Well, it says these are prepays, which is, those aren't in the abstract then, right?
No, but they would be
They would be, and they,
in the next abstract, yes.
Bill, the Town of Putnam quarterly beach is $172.79, right?
172.79.
Thank you.
All in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? Resolution awarding the following diesel, kerosene, propane to Avery Energy for the coming year.
I'll move
second.
it. We're going to do all three of them or just the one?
Those three
Okay.
fuels,
Okay.
yes.
And they're set up in a timely fashion to deliver?
Yes.
Okay.
We have a lot of propane tanks that are another company still. That's going to take some time to get them in and out.
That's the company's responsibilities if that's what they want to do.
Well, we better figure this out while it's 70 degrees. We're going to switch tanks.
Well, the reason these are awarded this way is because they were under state contract. who owns the tank? My suggestion would be that the town try and negotiate with whoever owns the tanks at this point in time to purchase them, so that the town owns its own tanks and won't run into this
Yep.
every time the supplier changes, be it from Suburban to AmeriGas or whoever. If we own our own tanks, it won't be an issue. In other words,
So we own our own, how about diesel? Would we own our own diesel tanks and fuel
No,
oil
no, it's
tanks?
just the propane.
Just the propane?
Just the propane. And it's the propane at the armory, when we put those tanks in, we purchase them.
We own
So
them, yeah.
we do own those, but we have propane. at
Police station?
Police station, sewer and water.
All the sewer, water, pump station.
Oh, yeah, pump stations,
Pump stations all have it.
There's a second tank at the armory that's not ours.
Yeah, that little one, yeah.
Goes into the ACAP for that.
The highway's ours, the highway, isn't it? The
So
propane.
did we not purchase propane this way
The
last year?
gas and diesel are, yes.
Gas, because they always match the state contract.
Oh, I see.
In this year?
But again, that doesn't affect who we award the contracts to. That's an issue, you know, if the gas companies want to change their tank, take it. You know, if the new gas company wants to sell us a tank, it's fine. If they don't, we'll purchase one from a wholesale supply and, you know, we'll do it.
They might be able to make a vendor swap, just change the sticker on it or something.
Yeah, but I would, personally, I would rather see a purchase of the tanks rather than a vendor swap.
I understand.
Well, usually if you own your own tank, then the price is a little lower.
Yes, it is, and you can, and it also gives you the flexibility to deal with whatever company you want to deal with, which we are forced to do
Right.
because we're a municipality. And that's where you get into this kind of issue that, you know, shouldn't be an issue for the town. The way to get around that is to purchase the tank.
So this sentence says awarding the following, which includes heating fuel.
It's not. That's why they're listed. The 3 heating fuel is not part of it because they were not below state contract.
Okay, so that heating fuel comes off that then?
Yes, it's just diesel, kerosene, and propane.
Has anybody,
As far as management of the tanks and all that, the department heads will handle that. As far as the,
that should go into our asset management system.
yeah.
I would think, you know, logically, if there's any work that needs to be done on the tanks, from the tanks to the regulator on the building, would be, right now, we're using Northern Mechanical for our people to maintain our furnaces and boilers and whatnot. They would be the ones to maintain that equipment. That would be my suggestion, at least.
So question, how about heating oil?
Heating oil will come from Griffith. They are the state contract agent.
So do we have to pass a resolution for that too?
No, we
No.
have to buy, we have to purchase state contract or less.
Or less?
Last year Avery was less, and that's why we went with Avery last year. This year they are not. Any other questions or discussion? All in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? Authorizing the following training and prepayment vouchers for registration, lodging, and meals via the federal per diem rates. Adam Hubbard, Police Supervision Course in this is fun, in Binghamton from January 11th to January 29th, 2016. A resolution authorizing request for proposals repairing town-owned equipment.
You need to do just.
Whoop, I'm sorry. Let's do the first, the one for the training and whatnot for Sergeant Albert.
I'll move that.
Second. Oh.
Questions or comments? All in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? Resolution authorizing a request for proposals for repairing town-owned equipment. And an attachment for that.
This is to advertise for the...
advertise for it, right?
I changed in the second sentence there from form to from.
We have a motion and a second.
I'll move it.
Second it.
Discussion. You got a typo?
Yeah, that's fine. Tanya's already got it.
Any other comments or questions? All in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? Resolution authorizing the town clerk to post the highway superintendent's snow parking ban, which is attached.
I'll move it.
Second it.
Discussion?
Do we want to read that
Yeah, that's a good idea.
right to the camera so everybody knows what's happening this winter? Did you say go ahead, Dave?
Yeah, go
I
ahead.
got done my hook on phonics course. Were you crazy? Okay. Notice is hereby given that the town of Ticonderoga will not be responsible for damages caused to vehicles parked in the right-of-way of the town. And further notice is hereby given that all individuals plowing snow must remove all snow deposited by them from sidewalks and roadways. As stated in local ordinance dated December 8, 2005, all night parking during the period beginning November 1st and ending April 1st of each year from the hours of 1 a.m. to 6 a.m. is prohibited. Motor vehicles found parked in violation will be subject to a fine and/or towing. Dated October 29, 2015, Michael Parent, Highway Superintendent. Thank you.
And that will be enforced this year. It's just too damn difficult for the highway crew to dodge vehicles all night long when you're trying to clean the streets and have them ready to start school and go to work in the morning. And, it's expensive, among other things.
I'll move that. Needs to be moved.
I think we did already.
Yeah, there we go.
Well,
Any further comments or questions? All in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? Resolution authorizing the sewer department to purchase one 2016 Ford F-250 from the Chautauqua County DPW bid proposal number E-11-14PFTH for $41,200.93. Have a motion, please?
I'll move that.
Second.
Okay, this is, the reason this has come up is the engine and one of the pickups for the sewer and water decided to go away. The repair cost is just, for a 2008 truck, is not financially expedient for the town to put the kind of money it would take to replace that motor into it. And so we're going to replace the vehicle and put the vehicle up for surplus. There's a lot of good parts on it if anybody's interested.
Yeah, there's a lift gate on it.
There's a lift gate and some other stuff on it.
$21,000 for just an engine? Did I hear right? What was that? That's
17.
$17,000.
Wow.
Yeah.
For the
Diesel.
and the work of changing it, correct?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Do they have $41,000 in their budget?
They do. The money is in the sewer budget. Yes.
Cool.
They're planning on replacing the pickup this coming year, carrying that money over.
And that was the shared service truck with Putnam, right?
Correct.
So will it remain the shared service truck?
Correct.
Okay.
So they pay half?
They pay a portion. I don't know if it's half or not.
Nice.
All in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? A resolution authorizing a $41,200.93 withdrawal from CR Sewer Equipment for the sewer truck purchase.
You need to do a capital project, to create a capital project.
I'm sorry. Resolution creating a capital project budget of $41,200.93 for the sewer department truck. an increase in H45.8110.200, sewer equipment, $41,200.93. An increase for H45.5031, interfund transfer from CR sewer equipment, $41,200.93. Someone make that resolution,
I'll
please.
move that.
Second.
Discussion?
This,
Oh.
is this on that vacuum truck?
No, this is on the pickup truck.
Oh, the liftgate pickup. The pickup that they're buying?
Yes.
Oh, all right.
Yeah, we have to make a project, create a project, and then,
Yes,
okay,
okay.
all in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? A resolution authorizing $41,200.93 withdrawal from CR sewer equipment for the sewer truck purchase that we've just been discussing.
I'll
So
move
moved.
that. Second.
Any further discussion? All in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? A resolution declaring one 2008 F-450 utility body truck surplus.
I'll make it.
Second.
Any discussion? All in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? Resolution authorizing the town clerk to advertise and request bids for the 2008 F-450 utility body truck.
So moved.
Second.
Discussion? All in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? Carried. A resolution setting a public hearing for the 2016 Chilson Fire Department annual contract of December 10th, 2015 at 6 p.m. That'll be our regular board meeting for December. Have a motion, please?
So moved.
Second.
Discussion? All in favor?
Aye.
Opposed?
Carried.
Resolution adopting the 2016 budget, with the general budget of $3,587,890, highway budget of $1,858,807, Thai Fire, $491,700, Chilson Fire, $53,542, Water, $410,802, Sewer, $1,679,830.
Move that.
Second.
Any discussion, comments? All in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? So carried. Now we'll move to committee reports. Start with Public Works. We have several items that have come in on Public Works that require some discussion. I don't know that we can come to any conclusions or resolve any of the issues tonight. One is we had a letter from Moses Circle that was forwarded to all the board members requesting that their water rates and sewer rates be lowered because they are low-income housing and only have one or two people in residence in their units. My biggest question is if we offer a reduction based on the number of people in a unit, and we use an EDU method of billing, are we obligating ourselves to offer that price to any dwelling unit that has the same living situation?
Depends on how you word it.
You know, they also have a meter, so we know that they're low utilization for the number of...
They have a meter, but how does that relate to a elderly woman that lives alone in her own home?
You're saying low-income subsidized housing.
My question, all right, is if we offer that to those people, do we have to offer it? Are we going to be discriminating against other people in the town? That's a concern that I have.
Well, the town has set a precedent with Lord Howe Estates. So that's been...
They did?
That has been in effect for years.
Yeah, way longer than any pilot program or anything should reasonably run. And that particular item, that particular property was strongly suggested by the committee that did the EDU study and the Water and Sewer Committee to be brought up to the same rates as Moses Circle. For the same reasons. If, and I think we need to have it researched by our legal people, and I think we need to get a definitive legal opinion.
And something from the comptroller's office.
And something from, that's a very good point.
I'd like to have the comptroller's office.
We are not setting ourselves up. You know, if it can be done legally, then it's a board decision. But if we don't have the legal ability to do it to start with, all the discussion in the world isn't going to change that.
And it's a slippery slope. When you start looking at meter readings and then trying to adjust.
Can't look at meter readings.
You can't,
I understand.
unless everybody is metered.
But
Can't look at meter
readings. It's been batted around before.
We're looking at low-income subsidized housing.
But it was kicked around as a rationale to lower the rates was a meter reading, which...
We're not doing meter reading.
Okay.
That's against the law. We can't do that, Lee.
Okay.
We know we can't do that.
I just want to...
No.
Okay.
We're not doing it based on meters.
So what do we need to ask our...
Mr. Meyer to call Mr. Fuller, tell him he's got to leave hunt camp in the morning. Either that,
You need an answer by
we need it.
yesterday.
Well,
Yeah, we can absolutely
You know.
look into it. Generally speaking, the rates, as you guys more or less know,
Yeah.
everybody has to be treated equally.
well, that's the issue. We have another meeting later this month, and then we have the 10th of December, we have another meeting after that. So I would like to have an answer,
Right.
preferably by the November meeting, but we moved that up, didn't we, Tanya? Didn't we move the November
Yeah.
financial ahead?
It's the 24th, Thanksgiving week.
We're going to bring turkey, won't we?
So
Yeah, well, you were.
I can.
Move it up, it's the 24th.
Here we go, it's the 24th.
I can.
It's the last Tuesday of the month. It just seems closer because we're later in our...
Okay.
To be clear, are we talking about creating a new class of users, or are we talking about enabling certain
Well, if we-
exemptions, or
That's what we don't know what to do.
if it's possible, period, under any rationale, under classing
Would
exemptions?
it be possible to do?
Yes.
And what are the pitfalls that we need to be aware of and avoid if we do it?
And the restrictions,
Okay.
if there's any.
So this particular Moses Circle is fairly new housing. They built a brand-new facility for 34 apartments, very low-income people, adults over 55 or disabled people. And they're on the same campus as low-income housing that's owned by the hospital, Lord Howe Estates, who has had an exemption, as far as we know, right along. And they've been there for how many years? 30 years? How long has the Lord Howe Estates been?
Lord Howe Estates?
Yeah,
I'd say
30 years.
Yeah.
No, they had the exemption after we brought it to the board and had it lowered. They weren't exempt until we did that.
Okay.
So Virginia LaPointe and I did that many years ago before I was on the board.
So that may have been an error to start with.
No, I got it.
Of course not.
And so they are also subsidized low-income adult housing.
They're federal though,
David's responsible.
okay? So when we raise them back up, it ain't gonna be pretty.
Matt has a lot of background on this, so if you need to, I know he's going to be back.
How it states.
Yeah, I know he's going to be back Monday, so, you know.
No, we can certainly look into it. Is somebody else kind of looking into the budget impact of potentially reducing the number of water rate users? Or?
We know what the impact would be if it's just that unit, but if that opens the door for
How many others?
how many others,
Situated properties?
then it becomes a different ballgame. Then what does that do to your EDU price or value? You know, I mean, it's a snowball. And we just want to be careful, you know, getting involved with that.
Okay. Yeah, and I know Matt has the paperwork when the district was created, because that also has that information in there. That's the other permissible.
Okay, the next item that I've got on my list for Public Works is for eons, the Lamb family and Woods family received free water at the foot of Chilson Hill because the water main crossed their property with no easement. With the new work being done, the water main is being moved, no longer crosses their property, and the water department feels that they should now be billed for water. I'm not sure that, did you get the letter from
Liam?
Mary?
Yeah.
Okay, we did forward that letter to the board. It's out there. We'll be having our water and sewer meeting the 17th, I think. And it will be on the agenda for that meeting. If you have comments that you want to bring to that, actually, we're going to be on the 24th also.
So we're not just moving the line, but the easement is going away as well.
There is no easement.
There is no
That's why they've been given the water. They have suggested that we may want to remove the pipe from their property and, you know, make some other adjustments, which we can do while the contractor is there working. It would not be a large item to take care of.
If I recall that, if we don't charge them, they aren't going to care what.
Yeah, if they continue to get free water, we can leave the pipe there and we don't have to do anything.
But the new water main is going to be in the
new
state
water
right
main
away.
is in the state.
It's in the DOT right away, so it's no longer going to be run.
So it's no longer on their property or affecting their property in any way, shape, or manner. Something to consider before the 24th.
The thing of it is, when this was all talked about initially, Matt had some of there was nothing contractual, right? It required that we give them free water, or did anybody look at it to that extent?
Oh, this was done generations ago.
But this is something like an official legal, some kind of a document, some kind of agreement. Did anyone get a chance to look at that?
Didn't even know it existed.
Yeah.
Do you think one of those? I haven't seen anything.
We have,
Yeah, I've heard that many, many times, and it was like a contractual deal.
It's not-
Would have had it right there when we first started looking.
and I know there was a big search done in the last week or so since we got that letter, and nothing has turned up.
We may have to look up in Elizabethtown. Adirondack Professional Services. I think this might be where it resides.
John
But-
Deming? Deming would have it.
Yeah.
If there's
If there is anything.
Yeah.
But I can check on that
Talk
for you.
about it in that house.
Why not?
I will, yeah.
If there is something there, the town is not aware of it.
Okay.
At this
You mean awful.
Yeah, they cross many properties coming down through, but most of them all been charged for water.
Yes. Yeah. I was very surprised when this turned up a month or so ago. But,
Me too.
we've been doing all the research that we reasonably thought was necessary, and we've come up with nothing. You want to check with Deming and see if there's something that took place between the starting point and now? I'd love to know about it. Other than that, we're moving forward with the Chilson Water Main. I'm sure everybody's been up Chilson Hill. You've seen the progress. The contractor's doing very well. And hopefully that's going to be near completion by the first of the year. The bump out program, we are running into some issues. We're waiting on some drawings from AES. They are well aware that we need them. There's a deed issue with the strip of property that comes from Canmore down to where we plan to dump into the existing catch basin. And apparently it's something that goes, I know Matt's been working into it. I don't know if he's talked to Jeff or not, but he's been in contact with International Paper. They're waiting to see exactly where the excavation is going to take place for the line, and then they've indicated that a deed will be forthcoming, but they want to see the specifics of the excavation, which they're entitled to before they do it. Other than that, the main water project is moving forward. The particle counter is installed at the Lake George plant for the new filtration system. The engineers are working diligently to get design and bid documents ready for the OCR portion and, well, basically the whole street road run, so that can get under construction in the spring. They want to try and go to bid this winter, get the best possible contract price that we can by bidding in the off-season. We lost a pickup truck at the sewer department. There was absolutely no negligence or anything like that. It just was worn out. And that was the reason that came up in a rush. We will be having a meeting on the FC financing for the water project. That meeting is the 17th also, I believe. And we'll involve the town, Mr. Fuller, AES, Department of Health, and Essex County Planning.
Was that in Albany building here?
No, actually, they're gonna do it here this time. They've been kind of rotating them around so that nobody gets stuck with all the travel, and that'll be here.
And will, at that point, will it have the difference? Will we know how much zero interest loan we're going to get, how much grant, to cover the...
Probably not. The application is done for the new grant. We had to submit a new application. You're aware of all that. That has been done, but I don't believe the results are going to be out until sometime in January.
I see, okay.
So this meeting is Tuesday, November 17th?
Yes.
Do you know what time it is? Because we usually have a Buildings and Grounds meeting down here.
Well, it'll be in my office. It's a very small group.
Okay.
And we're just going there and bang heads about who we can squeeze the hardest to get the most money.
Are we still going to be able to make our timeline known as far as the consent orders? On the
Yes.
tank and everything?
Yes,
Okay.
provided there's no changes in design or anything like that. If we stay with the design proposal, all of that work should be well within the time frame that EPA and DOH have put forward. If something changes, that there are changes going to be made to the design of the system and how it's going to work, I would be extremely fearful that if that compromises the timeline, EPA is coming to town, and they're going to reach in your pocket substantially.
Have they issued any notice of violation or anything
Oh,
to
yes.
date?
Sure, that's all.
Right,
Yeah.
right now? And do we have any idea what?
That's why we're putting out our quarterly notices on gooseneck and all of that. That's because we're in violation.
But there's been nothing, no monetary fine assessed?
You're talking
Not
about
at this
penalty,
point.
right?
Not at this point.
There's been no amount
Just the
designated.
range. I said it's just the range. They always say you can be responsible for up to
Yeah,
X dollars for every day,
and the X has got a lot of zeros after it.
but they haven't said this is what it's actually going to be. Everything's more or less fluid until they know that you guys are going to
Right.
comply.
Again, they have implied that if the town stays diligent in their progress, that the penalty phase is not going to break the bank in Ticonderoga. And there are actually projects that can be done to offset that cost. Matt went through all this last month, and that's exactly where we're at. The concern is that we move forward diligently. That's got to continue.
Diligently. Means a lot of things to different people. Diligent to me might be diligent, not diligent. I mean, we're going to have to go to the bank and borrow to maintain diligence, right? Or anything like that?
Well, yeah, you've got bond issues coming up. You've got all kinds of things like that as your costs become known. Once you're you're in the process of bringing this to fruition, okay? And you've got to bring your engineers online with the bid documents, go to bid, get your bids, know your amounts, get your,
Do they have any sway with the Department of Health in the DWSRF fund? In terms of, I mean, right now, we'd be done now if they would have funded, if we'd have got the funding package that we put in for. We'd have gone to construction long before now, but they kept kicking it back.
Well, wasn't it the basis, they didn't approve the design until recently, right?
Well, it was the cost of it. And they did a cost benefit on the amount of money it was going to take to supply them the amount of water we were looking, the amount of capacity we're looking to develop. And that was always the sticking point when I was involved with it, but I didn't, as long as we can make it. I mean, the guy that controls the purse strings is ultimately going to give you the go button on your project.
that would be Mr. Marshall.
Marshall.
Yes, and he has been, well, like I said, he's been actually doing part of the work on the new grant application in his office to speed it along for the town.
Good.
I mean, you can't ask for better cooperation. If you get the state agency that's been fighting you for how many years to suddenly, finally turn around and step up and help you,
Yeah.
you got to work to keep that relationship going.
You'll have this all figured out soon, Wade, don't worry about it.
Okay, another
That's-
4 years to work on it.
Right?
That's,
We'll get through it.
So if they approve the timelines.
They have.
They have, and then we're meeting those benchmarks, then that should be that should be considered diligent.
Yes.
exactly.
So we shouldn't.
That's what we've got to do.
We should be okay as long as we stay on track.
As long as we stay on that timeline.
Yeah.
Yeah. Yes. Should be fine. Shouldn't be an issue. But there is the threat, and I want to minimize that.
Gotta stay on track.
We've been living with that
Incentive.
since we started this, and it's not gone away. It's still there. It's a great motivator.
Right.
That's all I have on Public Works. Any other questions?
Yeah, before we leave Public Works, we still had, EDU
Yes.
allocations
Yes.
that were in error. And we
Yes,
haven't
you're right.
addressed those yet.
We do. We have there's a number of entities, be they residential, business, whatever, that have changed their usage since the last review of how many EDUs per unit. Okay. I'm not sure where the board, I know we're trying to work out a reasonable estimate of water usage for the average EDU, individual dwelling unit. But until we come up with that number, it's interesting because today in the paper I read that Kingsbury has opted to change some of their charges, and they are metered, okay, and they're basing it on the average residential use at 40,000 gallons a year, which is significantly more than what we are. But are they basing that on their meters? I mean, it's not, I read it this morning, I've not had an opportunity to follow up and dig into that information and see what's going on. But it may be a point for us. I've talked to different water departments around the area, and for whatever reason, their base unit cost, they protect it like a golden egg, and they don't want to share that information for whatever reason.
Well, so they're basing it on 40,000.
But yeah, if it's,
But we're
that's a
basing
meter.
it on like 300. If it was 40,000, that's a little bit over 100 gallons a day.
We're on a day usage, they're on a year
Right,
usage.
so 100 gallons a day would be 36,000 gallons, right?
Yes.
Ours would be over 100,000, at 300.
Right,
Yeah.
so that's considerably less than what we were assessing
But they
or
are, but
estimating.
Queensbury is meters, they use meters?
No, this is Kingsbury.
Kingsbury.
Yes.
Mr. Supervisor, were you at the meeting on Monday night?
No.
And, no, I said, were you? If you were there, had you attended?
No.
The way it currently stands is town of Kingsbury bills quarterly for residential users. Essentially, 10,000 gallons is, I don't want to say free, but it's included.
It's
It's
a big
$25 a month or a quarter, and they're in the process of essentially doubling it because the rates have been the same for 30 years. All of the houses are metered, and for the most part, absent a couple, maybe a dozen or so properties in the summer when they're watering lawns, most people don't exceed that number. But if people top off a pool or something, they'll go over that, and then it's $2 for every 1,000 gallons, 10,000 in a quarter. Commercial stuff is dealt with differently, but that's how they build residential. After having been the same for 30 years, they're looking at raising.
And how many users did you say have?
There's 400 or so total users in the district. There's probably 280 residential users.
Okay, so it's not a very big system.
No, it's not.
Well, to go back to that question.
Yeah, well, where did
I was under the impression that there were some people who were using water and not paying for it. And I thought that we had identified those.
That is some of the problem, yes. If the board wants to, what's been done is we tabled the whole issue. Now, if you want to pull some of that back out, I would think that you probably can. If you want to take, the people that we know that are more or less abusing the system.
Right.
And get that part of it, that much of it corrected. I think we can address that. There's got to be a way to address that through our codes department and our water department.
It seems like that's what we should be able to do before we get meters, because it could be years, it will be years before we get meters. But if there's some people who are not paying for it, then they should.
The other thing we gotta consider is in the wintertime, when we tell people that they've gotta leave their water running so it doesn't freeze.
We've already done that.
True.
We've already addressed
Right,
that.
but I mean, what I'm saying is if we metered it, then what are you gonna do?
Well, that's for a
So
different,
it has to be
Right.
fixed.
that's really a different.
Yeah.
Why does this come to the
Exactly.
board, though? I mean, doesn't our water sewer ordinance contain language to deal with, I mean, like with illegal taps and that kind of stuff? I mean, already?
Well, the reason it hasn't come to the board, as near as I can determine, is because basically it's a theft of services type of situation. And some of it has actually been political favors that have been granted by previous boards. And if we're going to clean that jungle up, it's on the table to do it. If you want to duck again, duck again, Everybody has before us. Food for thought.
Well, so where does this have to go to the Public Works Committee to sort out those problems or codes, or where,
No, they've been identified.
they've been identified, okay?
Main thing we gotta know now, is it legal? And are we putting ourselves into a situation for legality?
We've been down that road. Also, that research has been done. The best way, as it's been described to me, the best way to accomplish picking up the scofflaws, if you will, or the connections that are not legitimate, the main concern is you would actually have to get a search warrant to go to the house to prove that it's there. The simpler way of doing that, as there was a gentleman here from Meyer and Fuller explained to me, that the simplest way to do it is bill them. They will come to you and say, I don't have this, you can't charge me. Show me you don't have it. No lawyers, no search warrants, no nothing. If it's not there, don't bill them. If it's there, they're probably going to pay the bill and keep their mouth shut.
You talked about the town of Kingsbury having different rates for commercial as opposed to residential customers. You can change those rates for commercial as opposed to residential?
It depends on a couple different things. Part of it is how the district was originally created and how it was going to be funded. It would be in the original map plan and report documents. And some districts do provide for it. When you get, let's say, into Saratoga County and south, it is more publicly available what the rates are and the charges are. I used to live in the town of Wilton. That's easy to find. It's easy to look up. It's, there's a set number, and then there's any usage over X amount of gallons is typically how they're billed, but all those houses are metered, and you can drive around in your car and pick up the readings. It's a fairly advanced system. But yeah, it's and it's usually a combination of the two. The Kingsbury example, it's billed monthly. The commercial users are billed monthly, and it's as opposed to 10,000 gallons a quarter, you essentially get 10,000 gallons a month. The thought being and the goal being is if it's a business that uses water in production somehow, they're going to go over that and they should be essentially paying for that water. But businesses that are strictly have a toilet, are going to use less than 1,000 gallons, and they shouldn't have to carry a large water bill for just having a toilet somewhere to a house. So it's, they're in the process of trying to balance that themselves. But their rates were set up as essentially as two different classes of property. I think Queensberry has multiple classes. It's not just residential. It also has to do with billing software. Kingsbury has an okay system, but it's not advanced. They can really only set maybe 2 or 3 rates. Otherwise, it's an accounting nightmare.
So the difference here was if someone doesn't, if we don't have meters, then we can't base any charges on people that do have meters. Can we ask our commercial districts, commercial businesses to have meters? Just the commercial businesses. If you base everybody on a base rate of water, can we ask the commercial businesses, can we set a rate for them, and if they want to put a meter in and show us it's different, then by God, go ahead and put a meter in and show us it's different. I mean, I'm sitting out on the Hague Road dealing with the Department of Health, okay, not the town, and they told me to put a meter in. It wasn't a question, it wasn't you will put a meter in. So the biggest problem with the commercial people that came in was they said, we didn't use this much water. And we couldn't use meter readings for the few that had it to determine that. But can we ask the commercial district to meter?
Possibly. It depends on...
Because that was the thing here.
Local laws, it depends on...
Not
district.
residential, commercial, and they can do it. They can put the meter in. If they don't want to be charged what we're going to put for rates, put a meter in and prove you don't use it.
Well, and then where it puts the definition of commercial is an apartment complex that has 34 apartments in it considered commercial or residential? That's just, I'm just throwing that
No,
out.
absolutely. And that's the conversation that's going on in Kingsbury, is how do you define it? Because the larger users aren't the businesses, it's the apartment buildings.
Yeah.
It's the schools, it's,
We were told that it was unconstitutional. It was constitutional issues because we started doing that. We had a pilot program.
to require people to put meters.
We had a couple of commercials that did it and were granted a reduction, and then advice of council said that it was going to raise constitutional issues, and then we had to stop.
And it may. There's a lot of documents that we have to look through to be able to say definitively yes or no. It gets back to what we talked about earlier, is
It's going to be
treat
making
everybody
reservations for the Bahamas when it's done with the conversation.
But we are treating all commercial people the same. We just don't want to burden the residential people. So then we put these EDUs out there and say, you don't like it, prove it. If they told, hey, put a meter in, I had to put a meter in. I mean, if the Department of Health can make you do that, how is it that the town doesn't have latitude to do this? To allow people to put a meter in, to show, just the people who want to show will show.
That was part of the mindset at the time when we worked it with the Sunshine Corner up there, that we were going to do a voluntary thing. And again, like I said, the attorney told us that it would be unconstitutional because you'd have people that could afford to put in a meter, and then which would shift all the cost to the flat rate users. A disproportionate amount of the cost of the flat rate users, and who could not afford to put in a meter. That was the mindset in saying that we should declare this moratorium, which we did. Mr. Goodell was the next one up, right?
But we're not charging residential. We're not going to make them put a meter in. You're fixing an amount of water for the residential and charging them for that. It's the people that we don't know if they're using more or less. So,
Well,
We could look at it.
We're talking two different issues right now. Chatty's question is
are we going to
people that are abusing the system with illegal hookups, and are we going to go after them?
Yeah.
That's not different.
Right, well, so that's what I think we need to complete. We need to pursue that. There doesn't seem to be any reason not to pursue people who have illegal hookups, or they have an apartment in their building. And
They've finished off a portion of their garage or separated off a piece of their house, and that type of situation. Someone want to make a resolution to that effect, and we can put the codes and water department on it.
And so how would the resolution read?
To proceed to,
But essentially, as I understand it, is to be a resolution to go through the water district and confirm users and hookups.
To the best of our ability.
To the best of
And
their
adjust
ability.
adjust the billing to correspond to that.
To correct any errors.
And then let the bills go out and see what happens.
And that would affect the sewer rate as well. So if somebody put an apartment in their home,
That's
the
correct.
EDU for water would go to 2, and so for sewer as well. So
Yes.
it's not just the water, it's water
Right.
and sewer.
Correct.
So you want your resolution to include the water and the sewer districts?
Yes. Provided it's applicable, because we do have some places that get water and don't get sewer, and vice versa. There are many that are not few. But they can be identified by the water and sewer department. That's, and adjust the billing accordingly.
How many are we talking about, you know, how many?
I don't, off the top of my head, I can't remember.
So are we leaving that to, who's going to have to identify it? The codes, water and sewer department working together to identify?
They have, that's the process that has taken place, so to identify what we suspect as reasonably, you know, from what's apparent, from viewing the property and whatnot. We have not obtained search warrants to go in and look, nor do we intend to. We will send the adjusted billing. If the people feel that they're being unfairly billed, I'm sure they will bring it to our attention. We can look at it. At that point, they can, if they bring it in, they're going to allow us to go and look at their properties without having to get search warrants and court orders and all the rest of it.
Right.
And sewer and water or codes can go and look. If they're correct and they are being unfairly billed, you adjust the bills and you don't charge them.
So I don't want to prolong this discussion any longer than it has to be, but one of the things that comes to mind is that people who had a buildable lot were not charged anything for water and sewer, and this change was going to, they were going to be charged 0.1 EDU of debt. That was one of the things.
Not .1, they're going to be
Charged 1 EDU of debt.
of debt service, because they're should be responsible for debt service in the district that they're in.
So
And if their property can be served by the district, they're responsible for debt, just like everybody else.
So that's one of the things that will be included in this change. And David's going, oh my, but that's you know, that's a lot of money there's a lot of EDUs out there to pick up out there. You know, somebody could say, well, I don't want that to be a buildable lot anymore, and they could just merge it with the lot next to them or something like that.
They can do that.
So that's what they have to do.
And then it won't be billed.
Right.
But if it's a legitimate buildable lot that's marketable, it should reasonably be charged.
So I just want to point that out, that was one of the changes and I didn't hear, when we had the public hearing, I didn't hear that as one of the complaints. The complaints were the people who were going from 3 to 10 and 1 to 3. So, and those people...
I'll bet if you put it out there, you will.
Yeah. Well, if they get a letter, that's what's going to, like we did with everybody. I just wanted to, you know, if we're making it fair for everybody, and, you know, at some point down the road, if they sell that lot and somebody wants to build on it, then they're going to want to connect. So we've had that issue before. So in effect, they should be paying for it.
I think at this point in time, I would rather see us take little steps and get the scofflaws and get that taken care of.
Yeah.
The people with vacant property and that kind of thing, I think should wait for the either the meters or the rest of it when all our billing is going to have to adjust because of the way it's being done. You know that's coming. Sooner or later, audit control is going to say, now is when you have to change it. We're suggesting that you change it, now is when you have to. When that time comes, or when we get meters and can do it the way it should be done, let's get the scofflaws off the books, and then we'll deal with the rest of it in an orderly fashion.
Okay,
I'll move it.
I'll second.
Any further discussion?
Yeah, what did you just move in second?
To take,
You talked about 100 things, yeah.
to go after the people that have,
You're going to proceed through your water and sewer districts and adjust accordingly for the people that have illegal hookups.
I mean, see, to me, I can't believe that it's gone to this extent. I thought we had a water sewer ordinance that addressed this kind of stuff.
You just don't catch them though.
Well,
it has.
And right now,
That's why
they're
it's
trying to
on
catch
the
it.
agenda. It has gone that far. It's been,
high time we get on with it.
absolutely, it's been overlooked for a long time.
All in favor?
All in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? Carried. Now, we'll go to buildings and grounds.
Sir?
Buildings and grounds.
Are you kidding me? I did not have a buildings and grounds meeting last month. Actually, Chatty and John did come and discuss quite a few things. Some of it's going to come up in other departments. I will have one this month. I apologize, it was my bad. This month it will be November 17th, which is Tuesday coming up at 10 o'clock in this building. Airport did not have a meeting, we knew that. We do have some stuff going on with airport, though. We have light situation up there, we're trying to get through the landing lights that are FAA. We need to get them fixed. Mike's been helping us get with the company to put them in. So we're working on that right now, and Matt did help us. We put the fuel off till next year, that'll start in March. And Matt did make sure that all of our warranties and everything will be extended to next year is what we're working on. So he got all that locked in, so all those people will still be responsible for getting that equipment up and running in a timely fashion. We just couldn't do it this year and keep the fuel fresh through the winter, so we had to make that call, and we did. Airport will meet December 1st in Carla's office upstairs. That meets around 9 o'clock in the morning if anybody's interested. Highway, we did have a meeting.
Before you leave airport,
Yes, sir.
in the mail today, we received a big report from Shoemaker. We are an economically disadvantaged airport, or something along those lines, booklet about that thing.
That allows them to get more money. That's how all this has been going on. The grant money flows through, and the airport's really needed for its location. That's what makes it, that's why they're dumping so much money into our airport. I assume everybody understands that. The only emergency field between Albany, your airports coming up from the south, to get to your northern airports is Ty. I mean, anything can drop in there. Not everything can get out, but they can get in there. So that's why the FAA has spent so much money to try to make that airport with landing light systems and stuff like that. So God forbid there's an emergency, they can at least get a plane on the ground safely. So they invest a lot of money in our airport to make it an alternate landing place for should anything happen. That's where a lot of that money grant comes from, and a lot of it comes our way because we are disadvantaged. Yes. What did they say?
Well, it's
Yeah.
fully booklet.
Yes. That gets proposed every year, and it still wants to put the taxi rates
Didn't mean
up.
to interrupt.
Is that it?
Yep.
Okay. Highway did meet. Highway went over a lot of things. We had some folks in there asking some questions. One of them is the one that Chatty's been working on. Did you want to talk about the trails in one of your reports, or do you want me to just briefly go over some of that, or?
Either one. Gary Alcott would probably like to talk about snowmobiling and then get out of here, I suspect. So we could talk about snowmobiling right now, that would be great.
Okay, so what Chatty had brought up was when they built the new bridge on Tower Avenue, is it? What's that?
Right, Tower Avenue.
Tower. They extended guardrails all the way to the adjacent roads where there used to not be guardrails. The snowmobiles used to be able to come through the park and access downtown for fuel and food and stuff like that, which was pretty handy, and they're not able to do that right now easily and safely, so they're trying to figure out an alternate way to get into town. So at this point, I'd like to turn courtesy of the floor over, if we may.
Mr. Alcott.
Mr. Alcott, you may speak.
Second?
Second, I second.
Yeah.
Yes, as you just said, when they redid the bridge on Tower Avenue, they extended the guardrails, which basically blocked off our access. And in order to stay on the same side of the bridge, which is the Burgoyne side of the bridge, we have to go right by the skating rink where there's kids skating, you know, and around there. We just do not do that.
Well, there's not very much space left there now after the new bridge
You know,
either.
and we're basically right in the road. And what we would like to do is to get permission to come through the park. That means going across the Kissing Bridge.
I handed out a map at the last finance meeting. Everybody got one of these maps. They had a chance to think about it. So that's what they're asking for. They would mark the trail. They would put down plywood on the Kissing Bridge so that the runners and the tracks wouldn't hurt the surface of the bridge. And they would mark the trail, every 25 feet with...
Snow fence, whatever we needed to do to keep the kids that are playing in the park.
That's one concern I would have, Gary, is that we put up a fence of some kind. Snow fence, I think, is a great idea on the hillside so that kids get to sliding down through. Some of them.
Well, we would keep our trail as narrow as possible for sleds to be able to pass each other safely.
Yep.
And then that would allow us to access the gas and food, and that would be something for commerce as far as
The other-
people in the town.
The other,
No liquids, just gas and food.
Correct.
Okay.
the other situation that I would be concerned with would be how much snow is on that park when they come across. In other words, if there isn't hardly any snow, they're going to tear the...
Well, with the state, we pretty much, there's a 4-inch minimum. That's what the state requires for the trail to be open. And we would monitor that, and if it gets thin, close the trail, block it off.
That's a good
That's
idea.
what they do everywhere else.
You might ask them not to rev their...
Well, there'll be signage there as far as decimals, quiet area, whatever we need to do to keep everyone happy. We realize that we are
I
coming
mean,
to town.
it's to your benefit to police yourselves and do it the right way,
Yeah.
obviously.
So you're coming out of the bridge, you're turning pretty quick away from, because a lot of people
We're gonna
walk in the
stay
park.
close to the falls, basically, and right up around the edge of the hydro plant, and across the road
Here's a copy.
through the corner
Man,
of
copy left.
the Elks parking lot there, and get into that little park.
So you're coming up that hill, that's a pretty good grade. That's, again, I think what Fred was talking about, making sure we don't tear it up.
Yeah, it's not that much of a grade.
As long as they go decently, it's very true.
Correct.
If they start...
Well, I mean, we give a 10 mile an hour speed limit, whatever, and post it.
See, we had an approved corridor before that allowed them to bump into the village.
Correct.
It was all spelled out where it was and everything in the resolution we passed years ago.
Have you talked to Mike about, he's talking about not coming through the park? Not coming through the ballpark, going all the way to the corner and coming the trail that leads by the sewer treatment plant and down to
But
the...
then we have to cross a bridge, go the length of a bridge, basically,
Where? Oh,
yeah, by the sewer plant.
no, you don't.
You'd come out on the other side of the river.
No,
That's where the trail goes.
no. I made loops there with the kids with the snowmobile club for years. You're not on the other side of that creek. You're coming to that corner, you're coming right down on the side of the little chute where you're coming to the Kissing Bridge. You're not, and then you're crossing the Kissing Bridge.
Correct.
That's what he's talking about, so you're not coming through the ball fields and all that.
Right. Well, we're going to be coming up, we still have to cross the walking trail that goes up through there. But at that one point, there's one place where we'd have to cross that. Coming out of, like you were saying, taking that other trail that comes out, it actually comes out to the corner there where the Tide has its informational.
Where the 4 flagpoles are.
Yeah.
And you're coming down through there, you shouldn't hit any, what trail do you hit?
Isn't there the walkway that
Yeah.
goes up around the backside of
There is
the
a-
park there?
Yeah, it's a walking trail. I don't think it's plowed or anything in the winter, but in the summer, it's a trail.
Right, so somewhere there, I mean, we can make any kind of adjustment, but they're still gonna
I
have
don't
to go
think,
across.
I don't think that would be an issue.
No.
The concern was getting in around the ball fields and whatnot.
Yeah.
You know,
Yeah, well-
And you're not going to, you're going to come
Right.
down.
And we don't, even if we continue with the way that we have been entering into that park area, we are not in the ballparks at all anyways, because they're all fenced off anyways, you can't get into it.
Yeah, he was trying to keep them out of there completely. He does plow that. He plows that all the way up around, Mike does, all winter long.
Yeah,
Yeah, for the walk.
in the ball field
And
area.
if they run across the roads, he has trouble plowing it. That's what he was talking about. Well, if you get with Mike, that would be great.
Right,
And
we're
develop-
waiting to make sure of the transition before we approached anyone. So we waited till the election was over to know who we had to approach.
So is this,
So you're saying you want to put this off till January?
Did it come through?
Huh?
That works for me.
Dick had his hand up first.
I don't foresee having that much usable snow until January, actually. We do occasionally, and then, you know, like I said, as far as the state goes, we're not supposed to be on the trail until after December 15th or something like that this
Yeah,
year.
that's hunting season's the 5th, is it over?
5th, but as far as the season starting is 15th to March 15th is, you know, there's only really 3 months that we're even out there, so.
I had a question
Are
concerning
you giving the
snowmobile
floor to,
trails.
are you giving the floor to speak?
Yeah.
Who wants to first and second?
I'll second it.
You said that there's a 4-inch snow cover. That never happens on the, going up Chilson. If you see, even in the state right-of-ways, going up Chilson, Gary, and you should know this if you've driven up and down Chilson Hill, that trail, after a while, usually is always bare. You see bare ground, and with the tracks that you have on those sleds now, it tears the hell out of the side of the road. And if you notice, going up Chilson Hill also, you will see this year that more people have got fences all the way to the road. So now you can't cut across their property anymore. You have to go out onto the road in order to get up Chilson Hill now. You have to go out onto the road because you cannot drive through their property because they are bringing the fences right to the edge of the road so that they don't go over their blacktop, because those new tracks that they have on the sleds tear the hell out of the blacktop. And the snowmobilers don't seem to care about that. And in my instance, I have a wide open area. I have asked for years, all I ask the snowmobilers to do when they cross my property is please stay on the white line of the road, because there it is capped. The road is capped by the state, and that won't tear up with the tracks. But they don't. They come right underneath my damn windows, right underneath my windows, and not one person in the 40 years that I've lived up there, not one person that owns a snowmobile has ever asked permission to cross my property. Not one. Not one. I have brought this up before. And the last person I talked to was extremely nice, and he did get the people that were in the club to go along with what I
I suggested. All as I ask is that they stay by the white line of the road because I have regurgitated blacktop in my yard. It just keeps the dirt down, okay? And those tracks tear it up. It tears it up terribly. And there's nothing I can do to repair it. And the state's not going to repair it. Even though some of it is state property, the state's not going to repair it. But at least for me, it makes it easy to plow. And people use my place to turn around in all the time. Cars off the road. So all I can say is, what about the insurance when they come through these areas? If property is hurt, the town property gets damaged, does the snowmobile club's insurance take care of it, or does the town's insurance take care of it?
I would say the town would be eventually.
Then that's not right, because then you get the taxpayers that don't own snowmobiles is paying for your pleasure.
Well, in order to get one thing, you have to have both. If you're gonna have commerce coming in to town, people spending money, people staying the night, people doing all this stuff, you gotta take a little, and I mean, as far as the club goes, we are gonna try to keep everybody, we'd love to be in the woods where nobody could see us. That would be the best thing that could happen for all of us, where you don't hear us, you don't see us, but that's not always possible. Sometimes you have to be seen, you have to go where property landowners allow you to go. So, there's always pluses and minuses to everything. There's a little give, a little take. We're willing to work with everybody that we cross their property the best of our ability. As far as Chilton goes, there's a public right-of-way off the highway, a certain number of feet. We try to stay in that area the best we can. But of course, with anything, there's people that follow the rules and people that do not follow the rules. As a club, we're going to be out there diligently trying to make sure that everybody that's out there is a legal rider, registered, insured, the right age. We'll do what we can. That's about all I can say about it. We're looking for the town's help because we would like to come into town. There's 3 restaurants in a little distance, little district down there that would love to see 5, 6 sleds.
Sure.
In some areas, there's 500 sleds sitting in the parking lot. So it depends on how we want it.
Mr. Fleury?
My concern
Somebody,
is,
somebody. I'll move it. Second.
my concern is, in the wintertime, they plow that little area where the people walk, and if you put a fence up down there, you're going to interfere with the people that are walking. A lot of people walk during the winter down there.
Show him the map. This would
Yeah,
affect the walking
Down at
path.
the Kitchen Bridge.
Yeah.
Yeah.
That little area is always plowed every winter. Then there is people that walk it. So if you block that,
The red line is where the snowmobile path would go, and it's not on any walking path.
okay, I see what you're saying.
Yeah.
And stay right along High Road and come up to the hills. They're not going to come out to where the people walk.
I see. I didn't realize it was
Yeah.
this way, that much room. In other words, you're coming down from Chilton.
This is the sewer plant over here.
I know where the sewer plant is.
They're coming down to show the chute, coming right through the side of the park, crossing the Kitchen Bridge, staying close to High Road. And coming up to, this is the Elks. This is the Elks here. They're coming up to that small park and around the back of the Elks and into the business district.
Okay. I see it now, but I just think we're
Yeah.
under the impression that they were coming down the bank.
It's a good question.
Okay?
It's a good question.
Good enough.
Do you want to see the map? Did you want to see the map? or- Yeah,
I did. I saw the map and I have a question.
okay.
First and
The floor to
someone.
Holly.
Okay, thank you.
We have
First and
a
seconded,
I'll
please.
first it.
Sorry,
have a second?
Second.
Okay, go ahead, thank you.
thank you. I was wondering about, you had said that there would be planking on the bridge to protect it from the treads, from the snowmobiles. Is that going to obstruct people who want to walk through?
No, it shouldn't.
No.
They'll just walk through on the planks?
Yeah, it'll be plywood, more than likely, so you got a flat surface.
And then that would be taken up again when the snow is done?
Exactly.
Right.
Okay. Another question, are there boulders on one side of the bridge?
Well, that would be part of, if we agree to this, we'd have to move the boulders.
Yeah. Okay, so that once they're moved, they would be permanently moved?
Well, no, they could be
No,
moved
they
back
can
in
be
the
put back
spring.
and forth.
Yeah.
Okay.
You probably only have to move one, you don't have to move multiple, right?
I
Just
wouldn't
move-
think so.
So you just want to go halfway across the bridge, or?
No,
Sorry,
move one
Johnny,
on
I'm just
either
kidding.
side.
Leave it up to David.
Sorry, Jack. Being bad.
Send you one of my poison darts.
Can we do this, on a trial basis? If we see the park getting damaged, if we see it impacting the people walking, if we see people speeding, can we do it on a trial basis and see how it goes and take it from there?
That's basically the way it goes anyways, right?
I
Yeah,
would think so.
yeah.
Yep.
Yeah, I took it back.
I mean, if there's,
Yes, you
if
may.
there's issues with it, obviously, we're going to be going to Gary and saying, that's it, you know, pull the plug. But I think,
Trail will be shut down.
I think until there's issues with it, you know, the problem I have, one concern I have is not the club members.
Right.
And that's one thing we're going to be seriously working on this year.
Good, good. That's the big issue, you know, that, to me, that's the big issue. You know, you folks are gonna use it to your best advantage, okay? It's the kids and the half-wits that get out there that don't, you know, that's,
Right now, they keep us out of town.
yeah,
I mean, they really do.
yeah.
Well, so maybe one of the things we should do, if the board agrees to this, is that we should plan a couple of things so that people know, so people who aren't in the snowmobile club but might be sledding through town, have the opportunity to know that this trail is available under certain conditions, that they stay on the trail. And maybe we should plan
I think
press release.
those are pretty well taken care of by the tourism industry and the snowmobile clubs.
Well,
They
Dave knows that
yeah,
their signs, stay on the trail,
Right.
you know, you abuse the trail, go home, you know, don't. We're gonna try to police it as best as we can.
They did a great job of marketing. I mean, there's stop signs, there's all kinds of
Right.
directed, you know, they do a great job of the
We
club.
passed a
Well, it's a-
resolution for the
It's,
speed limit of
you know, an $8 billion industry in New York State.
Or they could, the police
Right.
department
Take
could
advantage
take
of
it.
that.
well, they will post that. And I
Right.
don't know how
Can it be
much,
policed up? That's what I'm
I
getting.
don't know how much we want to turn our police force into a policing agency for the snowmobile club. I don't think that would be,
Well, I mean, just in the park there. That's what I'm talking about.
okay, and then where do you get the snowmobile for them to go chase after the ones that are breaking the law?
They don't have a snowmobile? They got four-wheeler.
They got four-wheeler because somebody wrecked one with criminal language.
Okay.
Well, so my point was just that we would have a press release and maybe have a map on our website that says this is where you can go.
That wouldn't be a bad idea. That wouldn't be a bad idea at all.
Communication.
I think the website map would be a real key, and you know, some kind of press release that we're now offering a path for snowmobiles to get into the village or the downtown area, provided they, you know, use it, you know, appropriately.
So, can we move that we approve the trail on this map on a trial basis?
Sure.
I would move that.
That Dave just
So Dave did, I'll second.
Gary? Excuse me. If some of these characters, let's say, are not in your club, start misusing this, have you any way of dealing with them?
Actually, we can have the police department sitting right there stopping everybody. If the town and village wants money, there's a good way to get a little bit of it right there. My plans are, last year in Vermont, snowmobiling is a big industry. And in their Bass magazine, they had what all the fines would be. And some of them were quite substantial. A non-registered snowmobile trailer, $650. That's a pretty big hit. So, yeah. So I've already talked to a couple of the local policemen, and DEC's out there. We can always call them and ask them. You know, the people that are legal don't have anything to worry about.
Exactly.
You know what I'm
Right.
saying? And it really wouldn't hurt my feelings. I've been talking to people for years, join our club. We have 125 members. There's no reason, there's more than 125 sleds out there, I know that for sure. So, we would do our best to make sure. And if it took that much to just have somebody sit down there and write a few tickets one day, on a Saturday afternoon or something, they'd get the general idea.
Excellent, excellent. You will post the speed limit? Okay,
So do whatever you guys would like us to do.
okay, thank you.
All in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? Carried.
Do you want to put conditions on this,
Well,
though, like
actually,
posting a specific speed limit, or let them do with their club?
Let them do their thing, and then if we got other restrictions, we want to come back on them when we know.
Okay.
And there's 5 snowmobiles.
Okay.
Okay?
Okay,
Where are we at?
back to highway.
Back to highway. Okay, thank you. Councilman Van Wert also talked about additional signage that Mike was going to get to help us find some of the different parking lots, because they're a little difficult to find, so we're trying to make them a little easier for folks to find.
Want to talk about that right now too, since we're on it?
Well, you're just taking right over. Go ahead.
Well, parking signs are on.
No, go ahead.
So we might as well do
Yes.
it. This, rather than the brown and gold parking signs, this is what we're looking at. So, and the reason, you can pass that around if you'd like, they would be 18 inches wide and 12 inches high. They would match the welcome to Ticonderoga signs as well as the Commerce Park sign. Not the one on the back, we wouldn't do that one. And we're probably looking at something like 26 signs by the time you double face them in areas downtown. 26 parking and entrance to Lachute River.
26 signs?
I think so. You've got right here on Tower Avenue, directing people down there. Then you have the parking lots themselves. You have the bottom part of Champlain, well, the upper part of Champlain, where at the corner of Champlain and Montcalm.
What's the cost involved?
Well, that's what I've only gotten one estimate so far. I asked the county for an estimate as well, because you let me know that we could have the county could do it. I don't know what theirs would be, but
Well, I don't know if they do those colors.
yeah, they do any color you want.
Really? Okay.
Yeah. And so I'm waiting for their estimate, but it would be up to $2,000 for all the signs. So I've worked with Joyce and Matt from the Chamber, Joyce Cooper, Matt Corey from the Chamber, and I rode around with Mike Parent to talk about where the signs would be. So does everybody agree with this blue and white? That's something that's supported by TMSP and the streetscape in downtown and how everything should look. Getting away from the brown and gold.
There used to be a sign committee. Is that still running or not?
Well, I think TMSP is pretty much performing that function.
Okay.
Thank you.
The other thing that comes out of this is if you go through the entrance next between the Pocket Park and Trendy Threads, that's technically town property and public parking back there, but there's no street light there, and so it's kind of dangerous to direct people back there. So I was wondering if anybody knows what we would have to do to get a street light back there. If we were going to direct
Discussed this a
people.
few times.
Yeah. What's the
Pay
answer?
money, it's easy.
No,
Just pay.
just,
I tried to get one on Burgoyne Road, and they told me it's gonna be $5,000. That's what it cost.
To do
have a-
what?
To have a pole spotted and have a light installed. That was a number of years ago.
We tried the approach to ask the actual building owner to put something on the back of his
it
building.
wouldn't be on their building though, it would actually be behind that a little bit, more toward the,
What we've already tried is to ask the building owner to get some kind of lighting back there, because it is extremely dark back there, and he has tenants that park back there. So we were, and I
So
think it
it's-
was with codes, we were trying to approach them to maybe take responsibility.
It's,
but we're talking about town property, we're not talking about private property.
right.
Right.
But what you're looking at is, you know, probably, I'm guessing $7,000 or $8,000.
Yeah.
Then,
Why so much money?
because they can.
I had National Grid put 2 lights on my property. They had to put a pole in, so the pole and light cost me $18 a month. The other one, I had a pole, that cost me $8 a month, okay? That's what I pay monthly for the 2 lights in my parking lot. National Grid changes the bulb. That's it. That's my full amount for street lights in my property. Why are they so expensive to do them in the town? I've got 2 of them. I pay every
You'd
month.
probably have to ask the Public Service Commission that question.
I pay every month. I mean, that's why putting them on the building's a great idea. It's $8.24 a month if there's attached to something that's already there. And you just, depending on the wattage of the bulb is how much it is. I have 90-watt bulbs, and they light up my parking lot.
And they set a pole for it.
They set a pole on the other side, and they ran a wire across the street. Yeah. So I'm paying...
They set a pole on, that's
In the
a,
middle of my medium, you'll see a pole with a light on it. National Grid did
but
that.
that's part of the highway, right? It's probably part of the
It's mine.
highway.
I pay for it. It's my pole.
It's on your, but it,
We can look into,
Let's,
we have a pole put up by the Black Point Beach also, and we have one put right out in this parking lot.
Yeah.
So we can look into see. how
The
much
one
those-
that I priced had all the utilities on it. It had
Yes.
cable TV and all the high voltage stuff and everything else. It would have had
Yeah.
necessitated a new pole, and it was,
I didn't pay a lot, but I don't know. Maybe it's different. I don't know.
I have contacts, Chad. yeah.
okay, well, that's just one thing I wanted to throw out there, is if we're going to be directing people to park back there, then we should have it lit. The other places are lit, but that one corner back there isn't.
Dave volunteered to take care of
I
it.
don't even know where it is.
I'll show you.
I'm going to put a light in my place again.
Okay. So that's my update on signage for the highway.
So back to highway, Dave.
Highway, oh. Fred, you want to talk about the culvert up on Chilson? Because you were the other person that spoke at highway. You were whining about a culvert now, come on.
It is in.
It's in?
Yes, sir.
See what happens when you come to the meeting and talk to us?
You're right.
Beautiful. We talked about our balance and repair. It's a little low for this time of year coming into winter, so we're looking at where we might move some money around for that. He looked at what jobs he wants to do next year. He put that in for us. Handicap signs for Montcalm Manor crosswalk have been ordered. So we're getting them going. I don't want to talk about the Japanese knotweed that's in here. The discussion on the year-round parking ban. Now, we just talked about the winter parking ban. Mike was wanting to, once that goes in place, leave it in place. The problem is, once the snow goes away, he's got to get the dirt and stuff off the roads. And he has not been able to run that that street sweeper with any success, because there's so many people park on the roads overnight, and they're really not supposed to. And he was wondering if we can extend that ban to a year-round ban.
I think that's a good idea, especially downtown.
So, that would be for you.
I think everywhere, because it's not just a problem downtown, it's the whole community. And the whole community, the storm drains affect the treatment plant when you can't get the dirt up off of the curbs.
Right. And the garbage.
It's the whole town, and it needs to be
More or less the
done.
hamlet.
It's got to be parked. If people have got to utilize their off-street parking, it's that simple. It's costing the town too much money, both in water treatment costs, running the sweeper twice as much as we should reasonably have to, because you can't completely clean any given street on any given day because there's cars parked hither and yon.
That thing's not easy to see around. When they have to pull out into traffic and all, it's not easy to see with that
No.
thing. It's just,
No, it's dangerous. It's-
the new laws coming with the DEC, with the sewer plant, cost us a fortune if that stuff makes it to the plant. So we're trying to get it up before it gets there. So that's what all this is about.
Someone want to make that motion?
So do we have to, yeah,
To extend the off-street parking ban to,
Well, we need to look up the ordinance, because we have an ordinance in effect, and we're going to have to amend an ordinance.
okay,
Oh, so we're just going to amend the ordinance that we already have?
Probably,
All right.
yeah, it's not.
That'd be the best way to do it.
that'll work.
Yeah.
That's
So I'm going to pull it out, and we'll work on it.
very good. Is it done yet?
Supervisor
Just
White,
about.
Dan?
The first draft is already on my desk.
Okay.
See, he's good.
Fuller has never come up with that answer. I want you to know that. Oh, that's cool.
Any questions for Highway before I talk about our next two meetings? No? Okay. Because of the holidays, we've switched around our next two meetings. So November, we're going to meet November 19th at 8:30 a.m. here. And in December, it'll be the 17th at 8:30 a.m. here, because we don't want to impact Thanksgiving or Christmas. So that's what our next two meetings will be. Thank you.
thank you.
Public safety.
Yeah, thank you, Bill. We had our meeting on the 26th of October with myself and Councilman Hunston, Margaret Lawman, Chief Johns, Bill Ball, Dave Woods, Ross Kelly, Matt Watts, Sergeant Holbert, Danielle Drinkwine, and Courtney Bissett in attendance. Don Page was excused. We will have to add that and correct those minutes. The Ticonderoga Police went on to report the chief that there have been 2 critical incidents that have happened in the month of October. The chief did note that in the 9 years that since our former chief left, they had no need of any special weapons and tactics assistance. And within the month of October, they had two calls. On October 17th, the Ticonderoga police officers responded to a call from a third party on Park Avenue of a man who was going to cut himself. Then also on October 20th, Thai police executed a warrant for a woman who had been barricaded in her home, both of which required support from New York State Police SWAT team, and we do appreciate their help. They did utilize a robot to gain access to the building and to see the situation. The chief went on to report that in the tentative 2016 budget has proposed a second sergeant position. Under staffing, the officer that was away at training is back, and the officer who was out on medical leave has returned to normal duty. The Ticonderoga Police Department is currently running with a full staff. We did have some good news in that the department did receive 2 grants, both of which from international paper. One is for a new radar system for the latest patrol car, and the second is for an AED that will be shared with the Youth Commission. The Thai Police Department will use the unit in the winter months, and then the unit will be transferred to the beach for the use by the summer youth program. And we also had an anonymous donor who donated a labor to build a custom insulated doghouse for the Ticonderoga Police Department K-9 Tusco. We did pay our bills for October. We had a lengthy discussion about building codes and the needs of additional computer software and computer systems, and that is a work in progress. We are going to continue to look at the needs of the codes department and to make sure that they get what they need to work efficiently and proactively about some of the code issues that we're facing here in town with some of the properties that have been let go and not maintained and whatnot. We did discuss also adding a line item to the 2016 budget that would allow for some funds to be allocated for cleanup specifically. I wasn't aware of that line item, and it does in fact exist and has existed for quite a while. So there is a line item there to be utilized to clean up properties. And that was just a bit of misinformation that came to me. We do have a list of approximately 40 properties that have been documented that are in need, are seriously neglected and need to be cleaned. So we are going to make a real effort and get this town on the right track and looking better, and maybe we'll improve the morale overall in the town. So I would like to thank Courtney Bizette, our police records clerk. She was one of the ones that helped initiate those grants, and she did a great job, and like I said, successfully brought those grants back to the department. So that's all I have. The next meeting will be Monday, November 30th at 5 p.m.
Skipping right over codes, huh?
Okay, under Board of Health, and it ties in with public safety, the code enforcement officer stopped today, and on the town property, where we just purchased the former D&H CP rail right away, there has been an extensive amount of dumping take place over by the Brown Trailer Park. The people responsible will be notified in the morning that they have 10 days to remove it, or the town will remove it and back charge them. And we're also looking into what other citations can be delivered in regards to illegal dumping and whatnot to go with that. That's all for the Board of Health. Insurance.
Yeah, we had another meeting October 14th with our Mark Crawford of Burnham Financial and myself, Amy Cannell, Sue Eustace, Rich Diedrich, Fred Hunston, and Amy Provost in attendance. We did, the broker did go into a number of the impacts that healthcare reform will bring to the town by virtue of the Affordable Care Act. It did translate into a 4 to 6% increase in our premiums overall. They also talked about the healthcare reform, some of the new things that are coming into play, and there will be an individual mandate which will require a 2% of income penalty for being uninsured. It also talked about the New York State Health Insurance Exchange, and right now as it stands, we had been experience rated, and now we are going to a community-based rating, which is a change from what we had been in the past. They are now making it available to groups with 100 employees, with less than 100 employees, starting in 2016. He did expound on the 40% tax on Cadillac health plans, which will be starting in 2018, and that amount, the premiums would equal $10,200 for a single and $27,500 for a family plan. As it stands right now, we are currently paying $21,544 for a family plan. We're optimistic that we will miss that. We will miss that being considered a Cadillac plan and therefore not be subject to the 40% surtax. Under our new renewal for 2016, there's some desired plan option characteristics. We will continue to have direct access to providers with no referrals. There will be comprehensive network of local providers and out-of-area providers and out-of-network coverage. Under the community-rated plan enhancement, there will be gym memberships. There will be preventative pharmacy covered with a copay for preventative drugs, and then there will be pediatric dental. But our broker did go on to say that he thinks that the providers that will deal with the pediatric dental are going to be few and far between. You're going to have to travel to get pediatric dental care. And that's pretty much it. There wasn't minutes per se. I just went off the agenda that we worked out from. So we will be meeting again, scheduled another meeting. It's to be determined. Yeah.
Any questions for Mr. Taylor? Yeah. Contract negotiations, we're going to reserve for executive session. Transfer station, Mr. Huntsman.
We sent a proposal to International Paper, and apparently they didn't receive it through the email, I believe it was, and So anyways, we got in touch with them, and they said they didn't receive it, so we made sure we sent it to them again and checked to make sure they got it. At this point in time, we haven't heard nothing from them, correct?
Correct. We're just waiting to hear back from the mill.
Right.
Believe everything can be handled in the local plant. They've been in contact with their corporate legal people, and we're just waiting to get it through the decision-making process at the plant, and hopefully we'll have an agreement that will work with bringing Ace Trucking on board as a user of our transfer station.
So the agreement with the mill is for the use of their scale.
Yes.
Correct. In case anybody didn't know, that we've been working with ACE as far as they want to dump their garbage on ours, and of course we will receive some money from doing that, but we have to weigh the trucks full and empty, and we don't have a scale up there, so we're working with IP to get that permission to do so.
When do they want to do this, Fred? How soon?
Yesterday.
Yes.
Oh, yeah. We can't do it like on a unit charge per yard or anything, so we don't lose out on the business in the interim? Or?
Well, the problem is, do you want to estimate the waste? Because if you're wrong,
Yeah.
the town comes up on the short end. That's why we need the scales. We pay by weight, we've got to charge by weight. Or we have a real issue with taking a bath.
Yeah. Like we do with the C&D, though, we do that by unit and then sell it by weight, right? Or get charged by weight. But anyway, that's fine.
It would be nice to have some scales up there. You got some pocket change, you.
Yeah. That wouldn't be a bad deal either. Subcommittee for Economic Development, Chatty?
Well, we talked about snowmobiling and parking signs. Were you going to talk about the fishing tournament in October of 16?
I wasn't going to bring that up for discussion until we have all the information on it.
Okay. Just to follow up on a little good news, we, on Labor Day weekend, Ticonderoga had a big event for the whole Labor Day weekend. I think at the last meeting, I went over what Roost had said the economic impact was, the indirect economic impact. Just some more good news is that for this event, and this is new, it's a new attraction for our town, that's why I'm kind of making everybody aware of it, is that CBS and CNN finished, well, to back up, there was a special article in Sunday New York Times a few weeks ago about Star Trek coming, the Trekkies in Ticonderoga. And as a follow-up, CBS and CNN finished up filming of the Trek folks and their sets on Friday. And CBS the CBS segment will air on Sunday morning with Charles Osgood in January, and CNN will be in the evening with Anderson Cooper. So this is really good. It's good, positive PR for our town. It'll bring, hopefully bring more visitors, more attention to the town. And to commend James Cawley on having this vision for this and a passion for it for so many years. This set used to be in Port Henry or in Mariah somewhere, and he brought it here a couple years ago. So it's been, I think it's been good for town, it's been good for hotels and restaurants, and I think we'll get better. I guess I'll go into Thai TV. Thai TV, we've been working on expanding Thai TV, and we have a committee that's been doing that for the last year or so. It not only serves as a school communication tool, but also as a community business and tourism tool. And we're looking to expand it to not only give more visibility and support to community events, but also for businesses and nonprofit organizations, and to improve our local economy and general quality of life by letting people know all of the things that are going on. Our plan, and Heath is on the other side of the counter, but he's the one who's going to be putting all this together, actually getting it done. But he likes being on the other side of the camera, so. We're looking at creating, there's about a 20-minute loop that goes over the calendar of events. And in that, we're looking to have a 20-second slide that would show 3 times. It would show in every 20-minute loop, so it would show 3 times an hour, 24 hours a day. It would show 72 times a day, and we're offering that as a promotion, for businesses to promote. Well, it would say this segment is sponsored by such and such a business for $10 a day or $40 for a 5-day period. This will give businesses more exposure and also help to fund the extra work that goes involved in all the additional programming. I have a handout. We're looking to be filming games. There's a list here of all the sporting events that would be filmed, as well as things like the corral would be on here. The Festival Guild is putting on a Christmas show. That would be on here. And we're giving businesses the opportunity to sponsor those events. So it will provide funding so that we can have more filming of events, and it will also provide exposure to the businesses that are willing to sponsor the events. It would be, sponsoring a program would be $50 per program, and the sponsorship would air at the start of it, at breaks, and then at the end. So, and then the program would, so every time that program airs, the business would be highlighted. There's also going to be an improvement in the TV guide, letting people know when the programs would be aired. Right now, you can't tell when something's going to be aired. So that's going to be another improvement. For Christmas Day, for example, there will be a repetition of Christmas programs that have been taped during the season, again, to include the corral, the Christmas Carol, and the school Christmas programs. So I wanted to let everybody know that we are improving Thai TV, which will hopefully be enjoyed by the community. It'll be more information, and it'll also be a help to our businesses that will have the opportunity to sponsor these programs. Does anybody have any questions about that?
Patty, is that feed available to anybody other than the cable subscribers? I mean, can anyone see it other than just people using the cable?
No, unfortunately. Though some of the things are, if they're on, and Heath, you can help me out on this, if some of the, like the town board meeting is put on YouTube, so that you can see by clicking on a YouTube link. In any of these Heath, do you have any hope of getting other events?
Well, as soon as we can get back into the swing of things and recording programming like we used to do, then all of that will also be put on YouTube for non-cable subscribers. So not only will people be able to watch the board meetings, but they'll be able to watch all the other programming, school events, town events, everything of that nature. And the people can also see right now on the YouTube channel the information board. I've been able to transfer that into a video format, and people can watch that. It's on average about 18 minutes long. So basically, unless you're living a completely and totally off-grid lifestyle, you can see what's going on at any given point in time.
And in terms of the YouTube feed, that's not the live feed though, they're like,
Right.
they're taped.
Right. That's all pre-taped, updated regularly. There are people that either don't have any cable at all, have satellite as a cheaper option to standard cable, whatever, the individuals have. So, but as long as you have an internet connection of some type, then you can see what's going on the YouTube channel.
And so one of the things that we'd like to do also is have these links on the town website so that you can go to the town website and click on the YouTube link and see the town meeting or the links that Keith would have up on Thai TV. We could expand the use of our website by having things like that on our site as well.
See, I had talked a while ago with Beth Hill down the Fork about possibly resurrecting the former WIPS radio station's Fork property. She liked the idea of something where you could have an interpretive tour kind of thing and then maybe sell some commercial, maybe have some local news kind of stuff, which it'd be great because you could direct people by radio into town. People driving up the road, they could, current events and noteworthy public attractions kind of stuff, which
Any thought as to how you'd finance it?
no. I got NPR, see if NPR could help us maybe. But again, it was just an idea, I didn't know. She liked the idea. Put it on the to-do list.
Who liked it?
Beth Hill.
Mr. Curtis, you floor, Mr. Clerk.
You have a lot of senior people that don't have computers and don't have all this other stuff and don't intend to get it. And a lot of them are on fixed incomes and they can't get this channel on basic TV without a box. You have to have that box or you won't get the TV station here. And with basic TV, you don't have a box. So these people that are on a fixed income, the elderly, are not getting this channel.
People who have dishes don't get it either.
Right.
I don't know, we might have some clout with Time Warner, but I don't think we will with the satellite networks.
We'll probably have answers from Time Warner by the end of next week.
I think that was brought up before. that
Yes.
They don't get,
It was brought to their attention a while ago, and I have not heard back from them. I will.
Thanks for reminding us. Then just to go to the website a little bit, if nobody has any other questions about Thai TV. We've had some changes to the website and other changes have been suggested. One of the things that, a couple of the things is that there would be a section for special notices. And I'm not sure that it'll be called special notices, but it would be there, and there might be two sections at the bottom of the site. One might be special notices where we would have public hearings, hirings, anything that we advertise for, or maybe that's on another side, and under special notices we have press releases, the snow parking ban, things like that, bids. So I wanted to, one of the things that was suggested to me is that when we write a press release, for example, it should go on our website before we send it out. And one reason for that is that sometimes when you send out a press release, it gets changed. And so if you put the intended press release on your website, then that's the one, that's the official one. And I wanted, but I guess I want everybody to agree that that's what we should have out there. If, you know, all of the things that we talked about tonight with regard to some of our notices here, they aren't on the website now, is that right, Tanya? Request for proposals and the snow parking ban.
Not until it gets approved by the board.
But they do go on the website? And where do they go? They
Request for proposals I've never put on there.
But that's really, you know, that's something that is at a, it seems like that would be a good place to put it.
Yeah, well, we're just starting to work with it, so.
Yeah.
It can definitely be put on there.
And so does anybody have a problem with that, or?
Putting RFPs on the website?
Yeah, request for proposals.
I think, you know, I would think we could put any RFP or bid on there, but aren't they already included in the minutes?
Yeah. But this is gonna like draw your attention specifically to it instead of having to read through a whole 50 pages of minutes like I do, 150, 70 pages of minutes that I do. She's suggesting putting a special heading so that like if we have job openings, you can go right on there and see it, which I think is a good idea.
More definition.
Yeah.
And press releases, you know, I held up that press release about the AED because what I'd like to do is ask Carla to put it on the website before I send it out. But I want, I guess I want everybody to agree that that's the way we should be using our website.
Press releases, past practice has always been that they go through the board. They should be at least reviewed by the board through emails or whatever. I think as long as that's done, I don't think it's an issue, you know. Then I think it would be a good thing to have them. You know, again, the press does take liberties with what they do sometimes, and if you've got the official version, you can call that to their attention, and you know, I think that might be a good idea.
So when someone writes a press release, copy the board on it. If you don't get any, you know, any feedback.
Yeah, I mean,
assume
you know,
it's good to go.
there's also the issue that you don't want it sitting around for 10 days while the board responds. I mean,
Right.
the board's got to take responsibility for reading the information and getting back to whoever's drafting it, you know, so that it can get done in a timely fashion.
Sounds good to me. I believe I sent that out. Did everybody see that? So I can ask Carla to put it on the website tomorrow morning. Okay. Thank you. I think that's it.
Attorney's report. Mr. Meyer, do you want to, we received Matt's report in the mail, or by email.
Are there any questions? I mean, I don't really, excuse me, much to add. A large chunk of it is actually more appropriate for executive session than
Yeah.
answer
Yes,
anything.
exactly.
Now we can.
Fine. That being the case, our town clerk.
We need to also schedule a public hearing for our annual contract with the Thai ambulance squad. And I would propose that you do that the same December 10th, meeting at 6 o'clock. If somebody would like to.
Someone will move that.
I'll move it.
Second?
All in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? Okay.
Do we do it all?
Yeah, you did one there, right?
All in favor?
Aye.
Thought we did that already.
We did. I'm not saying aye twice.
I take back everything I said about the Ticonderoga.
With the, with the ambulance squad, is it redoing what they have now? Is it a
Yeah, it's just an
increase?
annual, nothing's changed in that. It's the
Has
same
anybody,
amount that
have they
was budgeted.
proposed something, or?
No, but it's the annual contract that we do. Same thing, it's just a generic annual contract we do.
Last year was the first time we did it, right? So it doesn't really have a 20-year track record or anything.
So is the same dollar amount too?
Well, that's what I'm asking.
It didn't change anything.
Didn't the budget,
in
It's budgeted on it.
Okay. I know this sounds really early, but if you guys want to entertain doing your end of the year meeting,
No.
and I think last year we did it the same time as your monthly financial meeting because it always ends the same, but we just have to clarify that you're going to do the end of the year meeting also on December 29th at 11:30.
Sounds like a plan.
So I need a motion.
Someone like to move that?
I'll move it.
Second?
Second?
All in favor?
Aye.
Opposed?
And that will be just,
We did the all in favor, though.
and that will be to, so I can tell the department heads when to get all their last minute bills into me, so you guys can approve them, get everything that can possibly get paid.
What was the time on that?
It's going to be the same as the monthly financial, December
11:30.
29th at 11:30.
Does that mean water and sewer is right before that too?
Yeah. And if you're going to go into an executive, I do have something that I would like to bring up to regarding personnel.
We will be. One more thing I want to bring up tonight. Mr. Taylor came forward with information of a study being done on the fire department property for the new building, joint building. You want to elaborate on that?
Sure, yeah, we've been meeting with the Combined Use Facility Building Committee, I guess is the name, is that the right name? Multi-Purpose Use Building Facility Committee. It's pretty much some of the people that had been involved with the armory situation, and then some of our public safety people from the fire department and whatnot. We did request an estimate from the Pacheco-Ross architects out of Voorheesville, New York, for a programming study that would include the fire department and the Ticonderoga Police Department on one site on Montcalm Street. The fire department has pretty much said that they're going to go with us or without us. We could include the police department in this structure for a to-be-determined amount. Overall, it's going to depend on a number of different factors, but he rated or estimated it between $300 and $325 a square foot is what the town's portion would be, and then we've garnered over the years that the police would require around 4,000 square feet. So that's in the, $1.2, $1.3 million that would include the police on the site with the fire department. The fire department is going, like I said, is going to do this with us or without us. The committee is working on it. I got the proposal back. It hasn't gone through the committee yet. And we're going to meet on the 17th at 6 o'clock in this room to go over the proposal. I did put it to the players at the time. They said, was there anybody in the room that could not support this? I said, I don't want to go into this with one hand tied behind my back. And as there was two that had some concerns about the cost, but they were open to look at it and listen to the proposal. So that's where we are with that, and it's it's moving, and we'll have something. Once it's finished, we'll have something to bring back. It's $45,000, $48,000.
Where is this taking place?
$48,000. It'd be on the site where they are, Tom.
Where they are now?
Where they are now. And they have a whole litany of issues with the floors breaking and the sewers. I mean, the building is in bad shape. It was a grocery store that they retrofitted. I mean, and it's just not up to the stresses that the equipment that's used today is putting on it and stuff. So They seem to have a lot of support for their proposal.
Couple of questions.
Go ahead. Yeah.
Okay. The $48,000.
Yeah.
That's what the town is going to pay for?
No, that's the total cost. That would be apportioned between the town and the fire district.
Okay.
He clarified that. He sent me an email. He came today.
So do we know what our portion will be?
It was roughly 25%, because we would occupy 25% of the square footage, of the overall. They're looking at 12,000 square feet for the firehouse, and the police would.
The proposal says the total building size is 20,000 square feet, and we would have 4,000 square feet for the police. That would be 20%?
20%, roughly, something like that.
20%,
Right.
okay.
But again, it's all still in flux because they weren't sure if they were going to keep the bingo hall attached, detached. I mean, there was a lot of stuff that they were going to consider using jointly, meeting rooms, training rooms, shower facilities, that kind of stuff would be used, shared with police and fire. So.
Okay. The town is going into this as a leasee, or?
Again, to be determined, whatever's in the best economic interest of the town in terms of what is the most doable and what provides the most equitable solution to the problem that we're facing with the.
We don't own that property.
No, that's correct.
The fire company owns that property. Can we invest town funds into something somebody else owns?
No.
That's my understanding. That's what this gentleman has said. He's done it numerous times, and like I said, his resume is attached to the minutes, and talks about how many successful ventures they've had. They've only missed on like 3 bond issues or 4, he told me. They market the thing, they do the public education, they do it all right from stem to stern in terms of getting the thing built. But it's, like I said, it's still in flux, and we will have more concrete answers.
I really, I understand these people are experienced in that arena.
Mm-hmm.
I'd like our council to give an
Oh, definitely,
opinion
absolutely.
as to whether we can legally invest funds in somebody else's property.
Right. And he claims that it's perfectly doable, either scenario. If we wanted to be a stakeholder per se, again, according to this, our
Stakeholder is,
as to the co-own the thing, co-own it, or
how does the fire company?
as a lessee. I don't know how logistics would play out. I mean, that's above my pay grade, but they'll.
I don't know about pay grade, you're heading it up.
No, but it's above my skill set, I guess. Okay? But we're working on it, and when we get something that's worth voting on or to be considered, we'll bring it back.
So do we have to do we have to approve the hiring this?
That would be, like I said, once it goes through our committee.
Okay.
Once they recommend it.
Could the fire department go ahead with it? I mean, you said they were going ahead with it regardless.
That's what they told me.
Can they go ahead with it and give the town a distinct figure as to what we're going to be looking at for cost or lease price, or where we're going to be before we commit funds to it?
Yes.
Okay.
I
think that would be, I think.
We have to commit funds to the study to get those numbers.
We're going to have to commit to the study. We're going to have to commit to the study to get to that, to get to go.
To get those numbers.
Right. But again, there's a lot of specific language. How can we do it?
Thai Fire is its own district, its own property. Like, okay, Sewer wants to do an improvement on their place. Sewer pays for the engineering study to do the work on their place through Sewer because they're a separate taxing district. We're spending town money in a separate, it's not our district. We haven't voted on whether or not to move ahead with this. It's not like at the Armory, it was our property. Okay, we're investing money in our property. This isn't our, well, it's a legal issue, I guess. You have to tell us.
You just, it depends on how things are structured. And, you know, when Councilman was going through it, he was talking about the different scenarios. You just need to, you know, in hypotheticals, theoreticals, yeah, it may be possible, but it can also be illegal very quickly.
Yeah.
So you just need to firm up, you know, who's going to be responsible for what and how before, you know, any nickel spent. I mean, in theory, yeah, the police department can go look at any piece of property in the town and say, you know, we want to study this piece of property further. But when you start doing multi-use facilities, and you just have to tread carefully.
Be careful. Okay, that's fair.
And we're going to tread
You
carefully.
know, we're happy to work with you and work through everything because you certainly don't want to get in a situation
No.
where spending money and,
Yeah.
But right now, I mean, to me, I was not really aware of the scope of how badly degraded the police department is, the building. You know, I mean, I've never been on buildings and grounds. I haven't participated to any great extent. But that, to me, I mean, people need to see it. If you have any doubts about the necessity of what we're doing or the validity of what we're doing, you need to take a walking tour of the police station and look at, we're housing male and female officers. Now we have a canine officer as well. I'm going to work on something. I'll bring something to the table. If it don't pass, it don't pass. But I will have done what I told the people I would try to do to remedy this, because it's gone on long enough. I've been listening to it for 12 years, and I think we got to try. You know?
As long as it's legal.
That's all. It's
all I
legal,
worry about.
and I'm not going to do anything that's not legal. I'm going to be careful as all get out about all that stuff. So that's all I got.
Okay, and that brings us to an opportunity for the public to be heard. If anyone has anything they want to bring forward, now would be the time.
Can I ask, do you have any idea, what does a water meter cost? Did you have to actually buy one, Dave?
Yeah.
Do you mind disclosing what the cost was?
The one they had-
I purchased one many years ago, and at that time it cost me $100, but that was on
I spent $225 for the meter that they wanted. It's the same thing the town uses.
$225?
Yeah.
So I mean, it's not something that's,
It's pretty basic, it's easy to read, would have to be for me to use it. But it was easy to install, it's just something they told me I had to have. I didn't have a choice, you know?
yeah.
They gave me 3 different meters and they let me buy it, and then they, you know, they would approve 3 different meters, and that one ended up, you know. being-
But I mean, the cost itself, as a businessman, it's not something that would totally kill you.
Well, after putting in a $25,000 leach field, it didn't
No,
hurt too bad, no. That's the one that hurt.
Yeah, yeah, that's a different story. But the
Yeah.
meter itself,
Well, the meter's because of the leach field.
yeah. But do you think the meter would actually save you money?
Save me money?
Yeah.
It's my water, my well, it's
Oh.
not saving me anything.
Oh, you're on a well, and they
Yes.
still make you get a meter?
Yes, because if I put a certain amount of water through that, I gotta go through seeker. And they want to make sure I was underneath, 999 gallons a day, what was it?
1,000 gallons a day trigger seeker for a
Yeah,
septic.
I had to be just under that, so the way to prove I was under that was I had to put the meter in, because they had no way of knowing. So for me to put this size system in, I had to have it metered.
But this housing development, they had their own meter
Yes,
to prove that they were using less water than the town was saying.
yes,
It would be to their advantage
yes.
to do so.
They have it.
They have a meter.
They have one.
They have one.
Yeah, and Tracy metered Lord Howe Estates way back when to see if that was, you know, when we were doing that way back when, Tracy came in and did the metering there and saw how much they were using when that one was brought in years ago. Because they were also putting together their sewer and everything out there, and they needed to know that.
Yeah. Wayne, you're going to be up in the county, and you said you were going to be checking on some
Yes.
parcels, right?
Yes.
For
Covenant, yeah. Deed, covenant, water
While you're up
rights.
there, is
Yeah.
there any chance of you perusing to see, just for your own information, if there's anything on the old leases for the Gooseneck Waterline for the people that runs through Eagle Lake and down Chilson Road at the same time?
I can
You're gonna be in the
try.
same vicinity.
I'm going to have to speak very softly to try to get what I'm looking for, I think.
Well,
Be very persuasive, I guess,
Why so?
because
It's a matter of public records, isn't it? I mean, couldn't I go up there and do it?
some of these are privately held, Dick. Some of this is private research, privately done.
Well, I don't understand it. Then why are they records being held by the county?
They probably are, if you want to go and spend hours and hours and hours and find them. I mean, this gentleman has done the work and has done the legwork.
He's not going to county.
I'm not going to county office. I'm not going to private, right?
Private business.
Right.
What are you looking to find out?
No, I just wanted to see if there's any quid pro quo possibly back in the day that the original water line was put in. That's basically what you're doing.
See, I was told before this project could even be put to the financing agencies that there would have to have been an abstract done, which would have gathered up all that stuff, presumably. You know, and again, I don't know.
Back in the 30s, I don't know if that would be the case.
No, but I was told they would kick it, the funding agent would kick it if you didn't have the abstract stuff, the encumbrances, the stuff that you're going to be obliged to do.
You talking about Gooseneck?
Yeah.
I assume that's why they're separating Gooseneck from the whole project.
That's right, because the Gooseneck water lines run through private property.
Yeah.
Too.
Right.
Yes.
All through
Oh,
private property.
creation. Yeah, they know there would have to be a ton of easement work done.
Right.
But, you know, you're looking at a specific parcel on the bottom
Right.
where the
bulk of it.
water main has been replaced and redone. It's an apples for oranges that you're looking at. Yeah.
But that's exactly why the people up there are hooked up to the water line. I mean, if you can't see that part of it, and there was never any thought of a water district at that particular time that it was put in.
Yeah.
It was a quid pro quo deal. We'll put it in, if we have to run across your water line, here's a chance to hook up, and that was it.
Shake
That was
hands
the
and
way
get it
things
done.
were done then.
Yeah.
Yes.
Okay? That's what I want to see.
That's not gonna be
Also,
on paper.
there also might possibly be something on there that those people didn't possibly even have to pay water rent. Possibly. That they don't know how to go about getting, or even thought about, because this is second, third, fourth, fifth generation people that own it. There's estranged people that own it. There's people that comes from out of state that now owns Eagle Lake properties and stuff that has no idea what's going on with the water line.
Right.
So it's possible that the town all these years has been getting rent for the water, being paid for the water that they shouldn't have collected. It's a possibility.
Sure.
I mean, I'm not saying it's true, but it could be out there just like anything else.
The town would never do
So
that.
if you're in that vicinity,
I'll ask.
but I would like you to come back honestly.
Dick, I think Chilson
Come
is
on,
something
Dick,
that
come on.
happened, and none of it's on paper. I believe it just happened. I believe the hard part with everybody involved is to figure all this stuff out, because there are no records. It was never supposed to be tacked on. It was a transmission line, not a distribution line. So
Right.
you're not going to write down that people are
Right.
tacked onto a
You are
transmission line.
absolutely right.
That's not going to be documented anywhere.
Absolutely right. But they did. They did.
Uh-huh.
If you owned a house up there at that time, and they said, Dave, we got to put this line in to feed Ticonderoga. We got to go through your property. Will you let us go through? And you're going to say, at that time, you know it just like everybody else. It was barter system back in those days. All right? If I let you go through my property, what are you going to give me? And they said, you're really not allowed to do this, but we'll let you hook up. If you want, we give you one chance to hook up.
That's all supposition. We don't have anything on paper.
Well, did the homeowners just go out there and drill holes in the transmission line?
I can't answer that. I can't answer that. I don't know if anybody here could answer that.
25 people went out and drilled a hole in the
Excuse me,
transmission line.
okay, what we're talking about is complete and utter speculation
Right,
as to
yeah.
what took place 70 years ago, 80 years ago.
I know.
Okay.
I know.
I really can't see that it's going to serve any useful purpose for what we're doing here tonight. I really don't.
But it's just, this is something.
I
that's going to
understand,
come up.
I
This
understand,
is
I
gonna come
understand the
up.
frustration, okay? I completely understand the frustration, but I just don't see where this can help. I don't.
No?
Anyone else have anything? Mr. Baker?
Yes, good evening, Stu Baker, Champlain Avenue. I've got three questions this evening. The first is on the sewer department truck resolutions that were passed this evening. I'm hoping perhaps you can help me understand this. It appears that you increased two budget lines by $41,200.93 each for a purchase. So that's for a total there of over $82,400 for a purchase of $41,200.93. There were two resolutions, it's on page 2 of the resolutions. The first one increased two separate budget lines, each by $41,200.93.
Excuse me.
For an expenditure of $41,200.93. I'm just wondering what I'm missing.
I believe one is a transfer from one fund to another.
Now,
And it doesn't,
that's
it
not what
isn't,
it says in the.
it's not,
correct.
it's not, yeah, I see what you're saying.
Yeah. I'm wondering if the board needs to amend that first resolution for the record?
No, I think we need to correct the typo for the issue that's missing.
Yeah, because
You have
it certainly needs to be
to
clarified.
increase two different parts of your budget. I don't know the specifics about it, but you do it in all, because you have to,
It's double entry accounting.
Double entry
Yes.
account.
Yeah,
I'm not your budget person, but
Right, yeah.
that's how it has to
Yeah.
be done. You have to increase one section and to increase the other section
right.
to then withdraw. It's an
Carla
accounting
could
thing.
explain it.
Your
Comes
accounting
across as a
people
double
will-
appropriation,
It does, but it's.
It does, but it's
double
not.
entry accounting.
but it's an accounting.
It's an
mechanism.
accounting process that the state uses, that if you tried to run your household budget or business budget in the same manner, you'd be lost,
Yeah,
Okay, all right, thank you.
okay?
they can explain it a lot.
It is confusing.
Yeah.
You're absolutely
If,
right.
yeah, if you want to contact
Carla.
either Amy or Carla in the morning, I'm sure they could explain it a whole lot more efficiently than we can.
Okay, thank you. I may do that. Second question is, on the proposed ordinance change that was discussed to do a year-round parking ban, would that require a public hearing
Yes.
to change that ordinance?
Yeah.
Okay. One thing the board may want to do before that public hearing is actually do a windshield survey of properties in the hamlet that would be affected, because there are a number of properties that don't have adequate on-site parking for their own residents, let alone for when they have guests coming. And a year-round prohibition on on-street parking could, I think, adversely affect more properties than you might think. So just a suggestion.
Well, we do have ordinances in effect that call for off-street parking for all.
Many of those properties were probably developed prior to when that ordinance went into effect. I believe it's included in the zoning. The parking requirements are included in the zoning. And I suspect many of those properties predate that zoning. So I just tossed that out for your consideration.
If a property has been changed from a storefront to an apartment building, and now the storefront building has multiple apartments in it, but no off-street parking has been added for those apartments, are they not in violation?
A lot would depend on the timing of when that change was made versus when that ordinance requirement went into effect.
Post-19.
I'm thinking just of properties that have always been residential and don't have adequate parking to be in.
Because it hasn't been developed, or because there isn't, you know, I think most properties have the capability.
Mhm.
They, for whatever reason, have not bothered to put it in.
Yeah, I'd recommend you do take a look, maybe ask staff to go out and take a look, because I think you're going to find that it may adversely affect a lot of properties.
And they're all going to park on their lawns,
Or put
which
in-
isn't,
Or put in some proper off-street parking
well, that would be
that
nice.
they should have.
There's some properties where to do that, they'd be paving their entire front yard.
I can think of one property like that right now, which I won't mention.
The third question I had was, I'm wondering if there's an update on the proposal for moving the wastewater treatment plant generator to the Armory property.
No.
There is not.
There's been no additional work done on that?
Yeah, we're still waiting for funds and specifications and equipment for what we need at the wastewater plant, and that's developed and coordinated. And we purchased the generator so that we have a surplus generator. That's when that change will take place.
So at this point, the board still intends to put the surplus generator at the Armory property?
Yes, they do.
That's been evaluated?
No, we have to evaluate that.
Well, parts of it have been evaluated.
The person they are going to purchase their generator from at the sewer treatment plant is the same person that put the bid together for the Armory, okay? One of the people that bid it. So he has to look at the specifications of the Armory and that generator and put it all together for us. That's what we're waiting for. But we're also waiting for that project to move forward, where we have to buy a generator for that project, is what we were doing.
Right.
So you have bids in on installing the wastewater treatment plant generator at the Armory?
No, I looked at bids for putting a new generator at the Armory. I went out and got bids to put a new generator at the Armory last year. And we got several bids in, and they were quite expensive. And this person was one of the people that had bid this. And that's when Tracy said, listen, our generator is going to be surplus, you can have it. And that's when we stopped with putting a new generator in and looked at what it would cost to upgrade the equipment to put a generator that we already own in there and not have that cost.
Do you know what the value of the wastewater treatment plant generator is as surplus?
No.
Does Tracy still want a new generator in there? I think we talked to him recently and asked him that question. I don't think we had a
Well, that's part of
enthusiastic yes answer.
when they do the new project out there. They haven't done that yet. They're doing, what is it, clarifiers? And
Clarifiers.
They've got millions going into that plant out there. And that's just part of what's happening out there. That we have, this is what's going on with this parking ban. We're getting hit on the sewer treatment end of it, that they're getting hit pretty hard with all the new laws. And the more this stuff makes its way to the sewer treatment plant, the more we're going to get fined for what they're pulling out of there, or what it's going to cost us to pull it out of there. So we're trying to head that off, is what we're doing, by getting the stuff off the streets before it hits the plant. It's all, we see it all coming, it's all future, it's all what's coming.
I think you understand, my concern isn't with the upgrades at the treatment plant. I understand that entirely. My concern is whether it's necessary or at all appropriate to put a three-phase generator at the Armory property. Do you have, or will you have electricity demand analysis for the Armory property, showing that a three-phase generator is required?
That's what that gentleman has done that as part of the project to figure out the cost of a generator at that facility.
Are those documents available from our review?
Good
And
question.
if no, why not? They should be public.
They should be public. They went through Tracy, and Tracy has them. I'll get them for you.
Okay, I would
Yeah.
appreciate that.
Because we were looking at bids to do that, and he was one of the gentlemen that did the town contract, so it's always easier if you go with a contract. And you don't have to worry about, if he does the state contracts, then you don't have to go through that process. So that's what we were looking to do.
Okay, I would appreciate the opportunity to see. those-
You'll see where it is,
those
and how much it
documents.
costs, and how much to put the switch in. A lot of the cost is the switch. You have to upgrade that switch that's in there. So that was a lot of the cost of doing it, and you'll have to do that anyway.
So that it
And you're
switches
and you're
off.
certain that the bid documents include an analysis that shows a three-phase generator is appropriate at the...
No, it didn't say that. That was never even,
That wouldn't be part of it.
that wasn't part of it.
It's not a three-phase generator or a single-phase generator. The three-phase can be used interchangeably with a single-phase. A single-phase cannot produce three-phase power, so it can't reverse and go the other way. But to take a three-phase and turn it into a single-phase is a very simple process.
I would imagine the three-phase generator would be producing a lot more electricity than the Armory building would be demanding.
Well, one might imagine that, but unless you're an electrical engineer, I wouldn't venture an opinion on it. I would want.
Well, that's what I'd like to see.
I would
in
want
the
a
bid
professional to do
documents.
that.
Yeah.
Yeah. I don't, well, what Dave is saying is, we're not aware whether that's in the bid documents or not, but we'll get the bid documents for you to look at.
Do I
If it's
understand
there,
everything you're
fine.
saying,
If it
Stu?
isn't there-
No. That's why I get a professional in to look at it, someone who does
Let me
this.
ask-
Keep in mind,
Okay,
we'll
so-
probably have to pay to have that done.
So you're asking questions I do not have the answer to, but I will try to get them to you. I'll get what I have, okay?
I would appreciate that, thank you.
Yeah. But I haven't moved forward with what it takes to move that generator over. The three-phase wasn't part of this initially. It wasn't part of this till Tracy said, hey, when I do this upgrade, this generator will become available. But we hadn't even thought about that. We didn't know it was available. But let me get you the original document he did on the bid, and you can take a look at that.
Okay, thank you.
Anyone else?
As I'm going to have to kind of run the film backwards over 2 or 3 hours ago. But at any rate, let's see, let me just try to do this fast. There was mention made earlier of an inquiry with Time Warner. Can you quickly explain to me what that is? What Time Warner cable, internet access, something
Yes,
like
Time
that?
Warner Cable is the cable supplier in Ticonderoga.
Okay, they've got that T-line running down the...
Yeah, and they control the programming that's available on the cable TV. And the question that Tom had is that why isn't Channel 17 part of the basic cable package? And we're gonna, that question has already been
Yeah.
sent to them. We don't have an answer yet, and we will follow up, and they will produce an answer.
Thank you, that answers that. Okay, next topic. The IP is, it wants to put waste at the transfer station?
No.
No.
Okay,
Ace-
They just want to use it for something else?
No.
No.
Ace Trucking, you see their cans and whatnot, they also take care of Walmart's food waste. They would rather, because that waste is already compacted, they would rather save the trucking and take it to our transfer station than to truck it all the way back to Fort Ann or Robinson Falls.
I believe that's going to open.
So it's not a question of IP putting waste?
No, IP is not going to be putting waste in our...
We would just be using IP scale.
We need to
to
use their
weigh trucks.
scales so that we have an accurate
Great,
figure as to what amount of waste ACE is bringing.
thank you, that's that question. Another,
Yep.
thank you. The snowmobiles and the bridge, I just talked to the gentleman who was here before he left, and I asked him if those guardrails were not there on the Tower Road Bridge, would it be suitable for snowmobiles? Would he have any objections to taking his snowmobilers across that bridge? And he said, no, if the guardrails weren't there, that he could use it. Would that be something that might be considered so that covered bridge doesn't have to be taken for snowmobiles?
I talked to the county highway engineer who oversaw that project, and he said that it's, that project was federally funded, and he felt that, and that the county hasn't received the funds for that, and that if it were modified in any way, that might endanger the funds being paid to the county, for the county being reimbursed, because the engineering plans for that were approved and adopted. So if all of a sudden, months after the project is complete, somebody goes and cuts through, then that would violate the original engineering plans that were adopted, and he thought that that the county would possibly stand to lose some of the reimbursement for the funding. The second part of that is that the town would bear the cost of cutting those rails. And you can't just cut them off. The way the rails are, they kind of glide down gradually. And he thought that would be a $5,000 to $8,000 bill to do that. So he said that possibly in the future he would consider that, but at this point the project is too new, and he doesn't want to jeopardize any reimbursement.
Thank you. And who was that gave you this information? Someone at the county?
It was a county highway engineer.
Okay. So and they're
Chris Carroll?
No, LaValle.
Bob LaValle.
Yeah,
LaValle.
And has anyone spoken with the people at the Fed who needs to pay the money for the
I think that this
Stop.
taking the trail through the park is, that's something we can do this year. And what you're asking is a whole, no, I haven't gone to the feds. I think that you're just asking for trouble when you ask for something like that.
And this was a county highway project, so it was the county dealing directly with New York State and the feds. The town, if I'm correct, really didn't have a direct role or direct responsibility in the design or implementation of this project, correct?
Correct.
Yeah. So it was essentially actually a county project.
So if the county says they're not willing to do investigation with the Fed to see about changing the guardrails, then that's it, we can't move forward on that. In other words, somebody built the bridge and didn't take the snowmobilers' trails into account.
That's right.
Well, we don't know that. Whoever designed that bridge designed it to certain specifications and requirements that were started at the federal level and came down through the state level and the county level. If you want to go after them, have at it.
So, well, there's maybe wiggle room, there may be exceptions that can be made. It may not be worth it to do it. I'm just trying to find out if that
Unlikely at this stage of the project.
So,
Very unlikely.
and the last question I had to do with clarifying the water, in the water department. Are there fines currently against the town?
No,
There's no fines, zero.
not presently.
There's only the threat of fines?
No,
If a schedule is not kept?
no. There is, we are told that there will be a penalty portion to the settlement with the EPA. We have not been told the specifics of what that penalty will be.
That there will be, it doesn't matter what kind of scheduling the
Correct.
projects, there will be a penalty from
Component
the
to the settlement.
environment, not the DEC, the EPA.
EPA, correct.
EPA. All right, so at the Department of Health, are there fines from them that are forthcoming? So this is one.
Not that we're,
fine, right?
no, there aren't, not at this time. As long as we keep our timeline intact and proceed in a diligent manner.
Okay, but even if we do that, there will still be some kind of fine imposed from the EPA?
No. We don't know that. We know there will be some type of penalty. We don't know whether it will be fines, requirements to do environmental projects. We may be able to minimize the cost impact to the town by doing certain environmental projects that the EPA would look favorably upon and say, well, because you did this, we won't assess this much as penalties. They'll suspend a portion of the penalties.
The thing of it is, I got a question about that part of it. I mean, will that be taken as a town general charge? If there's a monetary fine placed on the town, will that be taken as a town general charge, or will it go against the water?
Water.
Strictly water?
And this, yeah, it's a water district issue.
Thank you.
You're welcome. Anyone else? With that, I'll entertain a
Make a
motion for
resolution that we...
executive session
Yes, sir.
for negotiations and advice from attorney. And a personnel issue.
To discuss a
Particular
little IT
personnel
issue
issue.
as well.
All in favor?
Fred first,
Opposed?
seconded, I didn't hear who seconded.
I'll second.
Hey, you want to let Joe stay? You want to let Joe stay?